Accidentally spilling a little too much
And
booze.
we magically appeared again.
There we are.
This is fun popping in.
Welcome to Fine, I'll Watch It. I'm Smoking Fat Jay.
I am Matt Christy.
James Kopp.
And we are here as we are every week. Well, almost every week.
Except next week.
Yeah, except for next week because it's Thanksgiving. Yeah. To talk about what's going on in nerd, what's going on in pop culture, what's going on, not what's going on in the world, mostly. We stay away from that. But we are doing our year-end review a little bit early because we got to pack. The end of the year is packed.
Thanks, television, for putting shows in December this year.
Yeah,
Who the fuck put you in charge?
Yeah, so we might recap. I mean, we'll be going through and talking about a lot of the other things, shows and movies that are going to be going on through the end of the year. But maybe at the beginning of next year, we'll kind of give our little review of the tail end. But for now, we're going to give you our best and worst of this year. So make sure you like, subscribe, and all that jazz so you can keep up with this. Like I said, we will be off next week, but we'll be coming back the following week with two shows.
It's hard. We're coming back.
Yeah, coming back hard
with Spielberg, Star Wars, and that Creature Commando show.
You keep saying that fucking Spielberg Star Wars. You talking about Star Wars babies?
Yeah.
Because if it's Star Wars babies,
it's Star Wars babies, baby.
Star Wars babies.
All right.
Let the force flow through.
we can watch it, but
oh no, we're watching it.
Yeah,
we're watching it.
We're watching them both though. So we're gonna get James Gunn's Creature Commandos, and we're gonna be getting that. So I feel like it'll be, one will be a good palate cleanser for the other, probably. So
which way? Who knows?
Yeah, we'll switch it up. We'll see how it works out. So let's get into this. We're gonna be talking again about our picks for the best and worst. Let's go.
We have no particular order. Something's gonna be thrown on the screen, and we're gonna react to it. And
no particular order, other than the ones that we picked. So first one here, Matt.
Movie, Furiosa.
Is going to be our best movies of the year.
So we each picked 3 for each of the categories we're doing: best movie, best show, worst show, and then a kind of a catch-all thing. I put Furiosa in the list. I enjoyed Furiosa a lot. Was it better than Mad Max Fury Road? No, but it was for this particular year. I looked through the list of all the movies, and I'm like. It's like, okay, I know.
I forgot that came out this year. I forgot that came out this year.
No,
so,
it's like, I like this better than Dune 2. Dune 2 was fine, but I like this a lot better than Dune 2. And in the entire list of movies that I saw compared to that list, because I thought in my head, I've seen more movies in theaters or at home that came out this year. And I'm like, no, apparently I have not. They're all movies I caught up from last year.
Dude, I saw a ton of fucking movies this year, and everything was fucking shit, so you didn't miss nothing.
Yeah. That's kind of, that was... I went through the list too of movies, and unfortunately, this just fell in like so many the meh category for me.
Like,
and
dude,
there was just so many shows and so many movies this year that I did watch. There was a lot more that I watched than I thought I had. There was a whole lot of shit that I didn't watch, but there was a lot more than I thought I had. And this one just kind of fell into the meh category for me.
Fury Road is a great movie.
Fury Road's a fucking perfect film. It's like a perfect film. It really is. It's smarter than any of the Mad Max films. It's smarter than half the films we've ever watched or reviewed. It's like, it's perfect. It really is. And so doing a sequel to that is always going to be rough.
This was actually more of a prequel to that one, truly. But
absolutely.
And taking a character that wasn't Mad Max as well into making a movie out of them. Furiosa as a character in Fury Road is a wonderful character. Her backstory in this was the most part of the entire movie. Which is odd because you make a movie around her.
But it's also like people that didn't see the Mad Max films that saw Fury Road were like, why is it called Mad Max? The guy doesn't fucking do anything. And it's like, yeah. Welcome to the club, shithead. Like, welcome to the table. Now sit down and shut up, and we'll talk about why these are called the Mad Max films. Like, we're Mad Max, motherfucker. Like, it's like he does the bare minimum. He's both the audience point of view, the hero, and keeps us going with it. And it's like,
I do feel I'm sorry, go ahead.
I like that she was kind of bland, and it kind of yes, her character arc is kind of like you're right, with it's the weakest story, but it kind of like I did after this, like a week or two later, I just watched Fury Road again because I just enjoy that film. And it was, to me now, it's like two Mad Maxes in the car because we like know her backstory too, where it's just kind of like, um, we knew she was a badass in the first movie, but we also knew that like she had the ability to care about something beyond herself because she's like trying to save a group of women that did nothing but be attractive, so that they got picked up by fucking
The ugliest man.
the current administration.
Yes,
Or
yes,
the
the
upcoming.
Yep,
current-
we're not there yet.
The
We're not there
current
yet.
one,
We're not there yet. We're going.
Maybe
we're
by the
getting
time
to
you
it,
watch this
but,
episode,
yeah.
we'll be
I
there.
don't know.
But,
The current one is a little sniffy too, so.
It's like it's all bad, folks.
Yeah,
Have a good one.
Anya Taylor-Joy as Furiosa is very good. Just
Yeah, it's not
her
bad.
story in her own movie is like the weakest part of the movie.
It is. I feel like this movie is what Borderlands wanted to be stylistically.
Probably.
But it probably would have been better suited leaving Furiosa out of it and just being a story about the world, like a prequel to
maybe,
the world.
maybe, yeah.
Or
and, you
truly make her the Mad Max of her own movie.
Sure, yeah, you could do that too. But I think, like you said, the most interesting things were these factions. Was this kind of attempted takeover? Like you could have just had the movie just be about that, like centered on, and I even love that he fails at the end, like, but center it on Chris Hemsworth instead, which you kind of did anyways. And just make that be the storyline.
No, Chris Hemsworth's character
sell
was
it
my
that way.
favorite character in the movie.
Yeah, it was.
Well, they did such a good job with, and part of that sucks because it's hard to film. When she first sees him, he's like a god. He is in charge. All the shots are from a low angle, and at the end, when we see him, he's just an idiot, a buffoon, and it's like that realizing
It's the Wizard of Oz.
Totally, or any sort of person that realizes they're in a cult or in something like negative, like, oh, you saw this person is really high, now you see that they're just bullshit. And so what the movie does do well, it does very well. The biggest problem is you're following Mad Max Fury Road, and it's just But
it still ranks higher than two of the other three movies that came before.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
yes, yeah.
You have a five movies.
Fuck
You have
it
a five
up.
movie set for Mad Max, and this is number 3.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
It's
Right
really
there in the
sad
middle.
because I went into Mad Max Fury Road going like I was on the Quentin Tarantino end, which is like, I know Mel Gibson's problematic, but he made your movies, and you not using him, I was like, I went in there with a bit of haterade and a bit of chip on my shoulder, and then I was like, oh my god, the guy who made Mad Max isn't in the best Mad Max film. And so like that was funny and sad at the same time, of like the guy who made Mad Max, and I get that, George Miller is this brilliant writer and director, but it also takes a certain type of actor that the audience wants to watch, especially when you're dealing with something that's low budget and that gritty. You got to have somebody that can keep your interest.
Yeah. What he knew
And,
is it really didn't matter that Tom Hardy was Mad Max, because Charlize Theron was what you were selling in that movie, really, and it worked.
But Tom Hardy's a fucking badass Mad Max. Like, he's amazing. Like, he says 4 words in the goddamn movie, and every word I nearly applauded after. And I was like, I go into every movie thinking I'm gonna hate this pile of shit, and it's so nice when I'm like not only wrong but comically wrong. It's and that actually, as much as 2024 sucked, that happened twice this year.
Well, let's move on to our next one and see what else we got best on the list. Okay, so this is one that I did, and this is honestly, this is 100% a guilty pleasure.
That's fine.
I watched this movie maybe 6 times. This is Roadhouse. This is the Roadhouse remake that was on Netflix or something.
I think it's Amazon.
Has it Amazon?
Yeah.
Okay. Listen, I went into this movie with total haterade, because as actually terrible when you rewatch the old Roadhouse movie is, it's one of my favorite movies from childhood, you know what I mean? Just, we could go forever on this. And so I went into this thinking, no way. They didn't really try to remake the old movie. They did, it has some flavor of the old movie, but it's definitely different. Jake Gyllenhaal is very different in this movie. The setting's different. It was really good, and the action and the fighting was really fucking good in it. And just from the beginning, you got a scene where Post Malone's in it, and he's doing this, like back bar fighting shit. And Jake Gyllenhaal comes up. They find out who he is, and he's like, "Fuck it, I ain't fighting this guy." Just that whole scene from the beginning had me in. I had a lot of fun through it. It's fucking absurd. It's not a good movie. I'm not selling this as a good movie, but it's a good fucking time. I had a real good time with this movie, and it was something that was lacking from a lot of fucking movies that should have been a good time this fucking year. So I'll give Roadhouse one.
I have not seen this version of Roadhouse, but I'm going to put it in the same category of another movie I remember I did see this year, which was The Fall Guy.
I almost put The Fall Guy on
which was just another dumb action comedy movie. And he's like, you know what? I enjoyed those from the 90s. I kind of miss those, and that's what it was. It was mostly a nostalgia hit that you like it or don't, whatever. We know these movies looking back are meh to terrible, but it doesn't matter because they're fun to us.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, that's why you watch movies, is just for the enjoyment of watching the movie. No matter
I can easily swap out this pick right here for The Fall Guy too, because I agree that's another movie that I watched probably 3 fucking times.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of those where I watched it by myself first, enjoyed it so much more than I thought I was going to, that like at work when we were finding something to put on, I'm like, did you guys see this movie? Because it's fucking great. And we put it on and watched it, and ended up doing it a few times. So easily could have been Fall Guy.
There's actually kind of a sweet story behind this that I don't know if it got publicized too, but he talked about it in interviews. But Jake Gyllenhaal saw they were doing a remake of it, and he actually reached out and started talking to them even before he was cast. And the reason why was because in Donnie Darko, he worked with Patrick Swayze, and him and Patrick Swayze got along apparently really well. And he brought up, like, I loved you in Roadhouse and I loved you in Ghost. And he would and Patrick Swayze would tell him stories about, like, hey, this is what we were trying to say with Roadhouse. And this is what it wound up being. Like the idea that you could have a philosophical badass, somebody who meditates, but could also kick your ass, it's like, and so that there's a connection to that kind of made me want to see it more than I saw the first Roadhouse. We're good on Roadhouse. The story, the concept, the series. I don't need this IP ever in my life. I might check it out just because of that connection, and then you recommend it.
I highly recommend it. Go in again.
All right.
Don't go
Roadhouse.
in looking for
fucking Roadhouse.
Don't go in looking for a philosophical fucking ideal in it. Go in, a couple drinks in, have some fun, maybe take a couple of them gummies. You'll be all right. You'll be all right.
Fall Guys the same way if you ever want to get around to that. It's just...
All right.
Yeah. Okay. So what do we got next? This is you.
All right, so this one's one of my picks, and I almost got to defend it like a little. My list for worst and best films is going to be a little controversial. Horror was big this year. Horror was big.
This is best. No, this is best.
No, this is best.
This
is
right.
one of my
this
best.
This is on his best.
And I feel like I need to defend this a little bit because it shouldn't be on the best list. It really shouldn't, but it's so unique and it's so individual and it's so unlike a lot of things I saw this year. It's unlike a lot of things I've seen in the last couple of years, which really kind of pulled me in. The star and creative control over this, the guy who was he was the polka dot man, but he was the insane guy in Dark Knight, which is how he got his start. And he's actually a really goofy, nice guy. Like he's really obsessed with horror, and one of the things he's really into is like Not Scary Farm and the Hollywood Horror Nights. Like he posts all the time about him going to these things religiously. He loves, so he's a big horror nut. And so he has a little bit of fame because he's Polka Dot Man now, and he decides to make this movie. This movie needed another rewrite. Another rewrite. It was one rewrite away from being. This would have been every horror geek's. It would have been their Cabin in the Woods or their Shaun of the Dead, where it's a mixture of both um, a wink and a nod to the audience of we know what we're doing with this, and an actually good and compelling story and idea. So, and at the end of the day, it's basically just a Faust done with like a 1970s sort of
Flair.
flair
Day-night
to it.
talk show type thing.
Yeah, but it was like there are huge problems with this movie. One, it's like half the act, they're all like over the top theater actors in this, but it's a 1970s TV show, so it kind of works. But like he has an opening comedy monologue, and he is a comedy late night talk show host, and his opening comedy monologue is not that good. And it was like things like that, where it was like, no, he should have gone out there. It should have been the funny. Like we should have been quoting him by the end of it, and we didn't really have that. But the idea that somebody might have sold their soul to the fucking devil to become famous, and then the devil's gonna come fucking collecting, like while you're fucking filming your comeback special. And I don't care what anybody says or anything. And spoilers ahead. It's non-spoilers, but spoilers. The skeleton person in the audience is the devil. If you're watching this in a million years or whatever, the skeleton in the audience is obvious. The way the camera shots are done, the way everything goes, and the way that one everybody else in the film is so over the top, and one character is wearing a skeleton costume with a skeleton mask on and doesn't react to anything. And it's just like, oh, all right. Like without saying it, it's like that is clearly the devil that doesn't give a shit what you're doing because it's here to collect and go home. And it was like this whole movie is this whole crazy thing that's going on, and none of it kind of matters. And so it's good. As far as horror movies that came out, I think we should talk about it because there's a lot of independent horror movies that came out this year that people love that were shit. And this is one that's actually kind of really good, kind of really interesting, has a lot of heart to it. Kind of sucks. It's like my roadhouse pick, where it's like anybody watching this go like, hey, this is dumb. Yes, it is. Most of this is practical effects, or if not, like there's very little CGI. This is not a major studio doing it. It's not a name IP of a bunch of recognizable things. This is a completely new concept, and it's probably the most original new idea outside of, something out of Korea or something that I've seen in the last couple of years, where I'm like, oh my God, this is such a refreshing concept and look. And anytime we get to talk about the fucking, what is it, the bohemian sex orgies of the rich that happened, that Eyes Wide Shut is based on. Anytime we get to talk about that, yeah, which in Late Night with the Devil, he was at those parties. Like, and might have sold his soul to the devil during an orgy and shit. Like, it's like
that's the best time.
They bring up stuff that's like interesting and like connections to other horror stuff. Yeah, so which was nice. I don't know.
I am not looking at my phone right now. We do not have the comments showing on the screen, but I already know my wife is pissed at you because we have it in our queue to watch and have not watched it, and now you've just spoiled it for her.
Oh, it's.
He said spoiler.
I know.
I did, but also I haven't spoiled anything because the movie's bonkers.
No, it's
like,
fine.
It's like
it's fine. We're still gonna watch it, but it's like I know she's upset. I know she's upset. David Dash.
She said yes.
Yeah. I know. David Esmaushin is one of those actors that's been around for a little while now. As a background character actor, you see him pop up for a few things.
The big one was The Dark Knight.
Yeah, The Dark Knight.
Which is funny because he's like Polka Dot Man, who they try to make the hero in Suicide Squad, but bitch, you are always gonna be Crazy Eyes from The Dark Knight. Like you are a gremlin. Like you are just
James Gunn.
And you did it well. You had no bad moment in The Dark Knight. You were great. And so it was like, who's that guy?
Full of memorable
James
yeah,
pushing into this spotlight now.
Gary
Yeah.
Oldman's in that movie, and we don't even talk about him. Like, it's like, that's how good The Dark Knight is. It's like, that's kind of scary. Where it's like, yeah, Gary Oldman's in it. What as what? Who gives a shit?
Yeah,
Like, I
mustache
want to
or
tell you
something,
about
I
this,
don't
this,
know.
and
Who
this.
the fuck is
He
Commissioner
died.
Gordon? James Gunn's brought him back for Creature Commandos. He's doing a voice in Creature Commandos. I don't forget which character, but he's one in there. And I don't know if you've seen James the One Piece live action on Netflix yet, but for season 2, they're bringing him in as he's one of the main bad guy characters that is going to be for that second season. So he's getting his time right now.
Yeah,
Which is
definitely.
Yeah,
nice to
well,
see.
this was kind of nice because it was clearly like he produced it. He's the star. He like this is it. This is his Dark Crystal. Like, give me money, and this is what I want to make. If everybody
But this
just leaves
was
me the
very
fuck alone and
successful,
you give me
though. I
money.
mean, this movie was very successful and made a lot of money, from what I understand.
And
Compared to
it
budget
will
wise, yes.
because first off, because there's nothing out that's worth watching, and so like and horror fans are just
And
like
horror
anybody else.
films cost
And
almost nothing comparatively
Yeah.
to make, and they usually
Yeah.
make a bundle. So that's good. All right, let's go to the next one. Oh, I mean, real quick, I didn't even see this, so great.
No,
I'm looking forward to seeing it.
It's
actually,
check it. It's like check it out. The one thing is like watching it. It's gonna be like this is unlike any movie I've seen in the last
It'll
30
be like
years.
the devil,
Like, and
he's
so
right
that's
there,
but
he's
that's
that
kind of
skeleton.
nice.
That's all I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, what's next on our best of list?
I think we all have a lot of ties right now. Oh, okay.
Okay, this is gonna be me and
Yeah.
you.
No,
Or
no,
just-
I didn't get a chance to see
Okay.
it. So
So me and my son recently watched this. This is he was real excited to see this because these are books that he read, and the Wild
nice.
Robot, and I love this. I love this movie. This is one where I was really tired and thought for sure I was gonna fall asleep at this one. I did watch it even at home, where it was much easier to fall asleep. But I didn't. I loved it. I watched every bit of it, and I thought it was a super cute movie. It was.
Oh,
it
that's
was
great.
good. It had an interesting kind of an ideal, and it kind of had an interesting kind of a way that things were, and it had a message, but it wasn't all preachy really about it. The voice acting is wonderful in it. I don't remember who's the girl. It's in it. It's the same girl that played Death in Sandman, right? Was it the same?
Oh, okay.
possibly.
I think it might have been her who plays the voice of the robot. But there's just quite a bit. There's what's the vampire dude from?
Brad Pitt.
Yeah, no, not that vampire dude. No, the old vampire guy from the Underworld movies.
Brad Pitt.
From the Underworld movies? Oh,
Yeah,
Bill
Nighy.
Yeah.
Pedro Pascal.
Oh, yeah.
In it. There's a bunch of people in it.
Sean's stepdad.
Yeah, Mark Hamill,
No, on
Yeah. It's Lupita
Catherine
Nyong'o.
O'Hara. Oh yeah, no,
Lupi-
Catherine O'Hara.
no, well, yeah.
Lupita.
Lupita Nyong'o's in it. Matt Berry's in it.
The robot, the main one. Robot. I don't. Ross.
That's Lupita.
Yeah.
Lupita Nyong'o.
Was that
Catherine
right?
O'Hara
Person I
needs
was
to
talking about?
retire
No.
after
Which one is she?
carrying the entire plot
Lupita
of
Nyong'o was
Beetlejuice.
in the Quiet Place
Oh, that's
Day
right.
One.
Yeah. That's right.
She was in the Star Wars as the voice of Maz.
She was us.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So, it's really important in my life to be able to have good animated family movies that I can watch and not want
Yeah.
to blow my fucking brains out. So, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, I really, really appreciate movies like this that come out every year where it's like, okay, yes, this kind of restores my faith that it's like, okay, there's going to be, some good ones of these every once in a while. And this one was
I'm actually going to be watching that in a couple of weeks, hopefully, and I'm going to try to watch fucking the Mormon slasher thing with fucking
Heretic.
Wackadoo.
Heretic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My wife wants to see Heretic.
Eh,
This movie's a movie I definitely will see when it either comes to streaming or it's available for Blu-ray purchase. From looking at it, the trailer and everything, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a movie my son loves. And
Definitely.
There you go.
I would agree.
So for lots of reasons, but I'm pretty sure that he's going to love this movie. One of those when he puts on repeat and everything else like that. So,
Oh, so I'm glad. Yeah, you hope it's good.
hey, good animated movies that are great for repeat watches.
Yeah.
So.
And apparently there's a second book, and they leave it open-ended for another one. You know what I mean? And I guess it's pretty good. So we'll see. All right. Well, what's the next one?
Next one's a tie because we know what James's list is.
Yeah, we know what James's list is.
Yeah, totally.
Yep, Inside Out 2.
Inside Out 2.
I'll go first. Inside Out 2. It's not as good as the first one, but still one of the better animated movies of this year, and just one of the better overall movies of this year. The only unfortunate thing for this movie is Disney's last-minute decision to change Riley's character arc that we know is there. The underlying current of it is there, but Disney is like, no, we're not going to let you go full through on that. It doesn't deter anything from the movie for them taking out that part of it.
There's so much in the film. Like, it's like, I get the, like, oh yeah. the fact that they keep showing Riley with like crushes of guys, I'm like, oh yeah, she'll remember that phase.
Yes.
That's how I feel about Riley. I was like, you live in San Francisco and you're obsessed with hockey. Like, I know exactly what you're into, even if the producers of this movie do not.
No, the producers knew.
They do.
Disney told them no.
Yeah,
marketing
exactly.
said,
But there,
I don't know.
both in the last movie and in this movie, dude, who this character is sexually attracted to means so little. Means so little. So it's like I get and that could have been the reason to change it, of just like, why even bring it up, because it has nothing to do with
it is marketed towards children, and it's unnecessary to put those sorts of things, honestly.
But it's also like,
One way or
if a
another,
story
and
calls for my problem with like that the reveal of the obviously gay character in Agatha All Along being gay was like, my boyfriend is calling me.
Yeah.
See, I have a boyfriend. He's so needy.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, we didn't figure that out from the 50 fucking other things you're doing right now. Thank you for thinking I fucking have a spike in my head and I can't process anything that is shown or to me. Like, please spoon feed the fuck out of me. It's you can have a character that is gay or straight or whatever, and if it's not important to the plot, it's not important to the plot. Just move forward. Like, yeah. It's just one of those things I've noticed, because I don't know if I've said this before. I wrote a character that was gay, and it never once got mentioned in a play I wrote, because it did not matter that they were gay. And it was like kind of funny while we were writing it. It was like, do we want to bring up the fact that she's into chicks? It's like, nothing. There's been no reason, other than for them to come out and say it. Like, I was like, why? Because we treated them like a real character.
And that's Hollywood's position on how we bring in gay characters, by making them blatantly say they're gay.
God,
And it's absolutely unnecessary.
Can you imagine that?
Cool,
can
great.
you imagine?
Let them
Let's take all the big money maker and just add that to it.
Yeah.
It's just like, we won in the gambling game tickets to go on the Titanic. Yeah, and don't forget, I like to fuck chicks. And so, like, yeah, let's get on Titanic. We like to fuck chicks. Like, can you imagine, like, if we had to label it every time? Good
James's
God,
last pitch on that script, though, was, at the very end, can we just have her come back on stage and say, by the way, I like chicks.
Also, Cameron, his friend that was on him with the boat, what country is he from? Fucking the Marx Brothers Zeppo country?
Yes.
Like, so, like, what accent is that? Oh, we had to win. What an Italian? Jesus.
And the other thing for this movie is it continues one thing from the first movie, which is you have all these emotions, and majority of them are mostly unimportant to what everything else is going on. Of the 4 new emotions, only anxiety is truly interesting and truly something that moves the plot along, because you could do without ennui, envy, and embarrassment, change to something else, and it'd probably be a similar movie. But anxiety as the emotion, as the characterization, everything they do with it is such a strong character in the movie that having all the rest of them just as a background pop in for one or two things doesn't detract from the movie or make it any less to make it a good movie and make it an emotion that
And to
is
add on
true
that, I
for-
would actually say it is very smart and very clever to make anxiety, which at the beginning sounds like a good idea.
Mhm.
Like your anxiety is trying to help you get ready for the world, when in fact that shit is a lie. Like anxiety uses your imagination to convince you that shit is not what it is. And it's like, first off, that's a big concept for adult movies. Like,
Yeah.
let alone get adult movies are afraid to talk about a concept like that. Actually, your anxiety lies to you and manipulates you into thinking things aren't what they are, and how do you deal with that is definitely one of the things you individually get to deal with. We have guidelines, we have rules, we have systems, we have philosophies or religion if you find nothing else. But at the end, it's individual. So how you're going to deal with your anxiety, how you're going to deal with your depression is completely up to you. We can only give you guidelines for it. And so the fact to really talk about it and really see it, and it this movie was just so incredible. Like I went into this movie, I was mad at Disney for a minute because they're Disney, and a conservative, liberal, whoever you are, we all hate Disney at some point because they're greedy ass clowns. And it's like, but it's very sad that like most of the stuff I saw this year that was solid came out of Disney. So there's that.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
And this is not the first year I'm saying that.
That
So
might be
there is
a
that.
great segue into our final best of, which is another tie, but it's a three-way tie.
One was probably the best of for all of us this year,
Yeah.
as it is anyway.
And that's Deadpool
It just
Wolverine.
is.
Yeah, no, and it's unfair to say because of how bad the rest of the movies are this year, this would be the best, because this movie is really good and really strong as its own movie, whether it be a Marvel movie, whether it be a comedy, whether it be an action piece, is just put together very well. And where they cut it down to make it as short as it was, considering how long it could have been for everything it seems like they wanted to put in it, it's like it's a wonderful, enjoyable movie to watch.
Yeah.
Movie, I don't know, like cohesive movie. I still will go a little bit on the other side. I think it was a beautiful homage to the Fox universe and a great series of vignettes that felt fine because it's Deadpool. But, a cohesive, movie that made me give a fuck about, things like the previous films that we both just talked about. It wasn't that, but it was, again, it did have enough of that and enough of what Roadhouse had, which was just a fucking good time, that it definitely goes in my top three, if not my top one of the year for me.
Yeah, for me, this is kind of like one of those moments in life where it's like I like something, everybody likes it, but I actually like it so much that I'll be obnoxious about it. Where it's like, one, I think this is a Hugh Jackman Academy Award nominated performance, and I actually think all awards for film and television are absolute shit and garbage, so it shouldn't even be acknowledged. But I would say Hugh Jackman has moments in this that are the best of a career that has been hit or miss, but when he hits, he fucking hits it. And if he was, I know you all want to say like, oh, Logan is when he had all those moments. He's got a couple moments in this that kind of, in my opinion, beat the Logan moments. And so, and that was really nice for him to get that because he's been so dedicated both to the role and to everything. Was it an enjoyable film? Absolutely. I had a fun time from beginning to end. Was it funny? I laughed out loud. I knew I like spoilers. I knew stuff going in, and there was still stuff that shocked me, and that is very hard to do. And I would actually say that this film is important because what this film is at its core, when we tear everything away, is that in the world of streaming, in the world of corporate media for profit, as we make our art, and it was never art. It was always media for profit. But as we make this and we go through it, as they collect these IPs and decide what they're going to keep and what they're going to throw away, the thing you love most might be thrown away. And it's like, if everything's disposable, then nothing ever has weight. And this movie actually talks about that in a very Deadpool way, which
Hey, if you're playing the
I think
drinking game, that's like 5 for the media for profits.
right there, and I'll catch up for you guys, dude. I did a fucking Goonies at the grocery store because I was out of booze, and I was like, "You're gonna come live with me. You're gonna fucking." I was fucking sloth over here with fucking with
I'm gonna
that
take
liquor.
care of you.
So,
I don't want to get drunk. I need to get drunk, and when you need something, it becomes a responsibility.
That's right.
So there you go.
so one,
Meatwad taught me that.
one thing I heard about this movie, which was affected by the writers and actors strike that they had, was that the second act of the movie was supposed to be more meta than it ended up being. Is that it was supposed to be some sort of developmental hell. And that was the justification for all these characters and for Fox and everything else like that. Obviously, because of the strike and everything, they couldn't do much changes on that. Disney came in and said, well, let's put it into the void and tie it into our universes that way.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just basically a placement of where the characters are has changed, but the concept was still there for them.
I think that was a smart choice, though, because they very loosely tied this to the MCU, and I think that was the right choice. But just staging it here, where it's like the Uber nerds all know, but we don't have to fucking, do a super long, he literally, he did the comic book thing.
He tells you
he
where to
just
find
tells
it.
you where to find it, which is, if you read comic books, that's what they do. Someone mentions something that is pertinent to this fucking storyline, and they tell you where to find it in the fucking comic books if you want to know.
Either in the annotation or Deadpool himself tells you.
Yeah, it's great.
So,
It's great.
Yeah.
So, Deadpool, Wolverine, big guy, thumbs up.
Yep.
Yeah, it's shocking because and again, for me, I don't like Deadpool. I really like the first movie. I didn't care for the second one. I have never liked the character of Deadpool. I liked the character of Deadpool until about 2000, and then they just started running. And that's when, like, hey, that's when he got good to you, motherfuckers. To the rest of us, it was like, oh, he's gonna show up, and then the story won't have any weight because he's gonna break the fourth wall because that's all he does, and he's the one joke thing, and the joke's not that funny, and I'm kind of done. And so I don't care for Deadpool, and I know you all love him, and that's great. But I've never cared for him. And the first movie, I joked, this is the best thing Deadpool has ever been attached to. Comics, creation, anything. The first movie is perfect. Second movie is a movie. And then this new one was just really shocking how much I both thought the writing was smart, funny, interesting. The performances were interesting, and I know some people were mad by like how quickly he throws away the love of his life. Like I some people were upset by that, and I get that, but I'm like, how much they got right in this movie is just shockingly well done. Yeah.
And I mean, I think you're the only one, James, that has anything about any movie that's coming out on our looking ahead or catch-all category that we have later. But I mean, just looking ahead to the rest of this year, only one movie that's coming out that for me may take a place of some on this list, and that's Moana 2. Which it's waiting to see. Hopefully it is good. But like for everything else that's come out this year, there's nothing else that seems like it's going to top this or some of the other ones that we've chosen for ourselves. So
yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to the crap.
The shit movies.
So, what's the first one on our worst of the year?
James Kopp, go.
Is this me or is this you?
That's you. That's you.
Yeah, man. Fucking good Lord. Me and my wife both love horror movies. So, and where we live, we have a really nice theater that does like $6 movies, and it's a nice theater. It's like well ran and luxury assigned seats and everything. So on Tuesday, you can go watch a movie there for $6. Not too different than the Maya back in Bakersfield, right?
Yeah.
And we've watched so many bad fucking horror movies. Like I could just go on forever, and half my list because I want to talk about these because it's like they had money or a name or something like that. Um, yeah. Hush is fucking unwatchable. Like it's like comically bad. And then like
Like just
obviously
looking
Tess
at her face on that.
it's just not even
there,
that doesn't even sum up the
but
movie. That doesn't sum up anything. That doesn't
it tells me that it's I don't know. It doesn't give me good vibes like I want to watch it.
it's basically kind of like a horror suspense thriller home invasion thing, but the home invaders bring you to them, which is a dumb fucking step that doesn't need to happen. Like and who goes to some random person's house for a weekend after they met him once at a thing? And the reason why they're doing this is because they don't have love, and like our main characters in this drive a Tesla the entire time and have no problems, which I guess the check cleared. So which was like the funniest thing is like the whole thing is like, oh, we're out in the country, if we could only get to the Tesla. It's like, you've been here 5 days and you haven't charged it. What the fuck you gonna do? Throw the Tesla at them? Cause it won't drive anywhere, motherfuckers. I know. I live near several Tesla dealerships. That shit is dead, and that is a lunchbox, motherfucker. But the performances are fine, and that's obviously why they made this movie. Like it was like, oh, James McAvoy's going to do this and blah blah blah, and God, the script is just fucking terrible, and it's one of those horror movies where it's for years in the horror spectrum, we have the person who yells, "Bitch, get out the house!" Like I was yelling, "Idiot, get shot!" Like just get fucking killed so I can go home. Like fuck me. Like it's the dumbest people. It's the dumbest killers. It's the dumbest everything. It's really a work of art. Check out that Hushy Hush Hush.
It's good. It's good to know that James McAvoy just leaned heavy into psychological thriller / horror as a for this year.
He was pretty fucking good in Split, and that's the problem. He's pretty decent in this, and he obviously picked this because it's like, oh, he's a middle-aged guy, but he's still really tough and he's really intimidating. Like they keep saying that about the character. I was like, I get it. We know why you picked the role, sweetheart. Keep going. So like, you're mommy's biggest boy.
I have not seen this movie. I didn't even watch a trailer for this movie whenever it came out. In my head, when I saw this title ever show up as a movie, it says, "Oh, they made a movie out of that Batman storyline." Okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought about.
Better storyline.
I know.
And I didn't like most of that storyline, and Hush is still a better storyline. So
what a surprise!
That's all we're gonna say about that. So.
All right, what do we got? What do we got next for our movies? Worst movies.
Oh fuck this movie!
It's got to be there.
It is. Did you do it too, or is it just me?
I think we both did.
It was just me?
You? Okay. Oh,
Dear,
that's right.
I
yeah.
actually have in my notes this year Borderlands and Madam Web came out, and they're not on my worst list. Like,
well, that's because
how shitty.
That's because you saw more movies, yeah.
Been, that the two of the worst movies I've ever seen are not on my worst list. That's amazing.
Madam Web
was very close.
Madam Web. So I didn't see a lot of movies in theaters this year, apparently. Or at home.
Did we watch this?
We did. We watched this. This was one of our forced watches at the beginning of this year.
If you want to check it out, go back and check out our commentary.
No, we didn't do commentary on this. This is one of the ones we were forced to watch. We made ourselves watch it, and then come back and talk about it the weekend or the day after it came out.
That's right. We did.
Sony.
So bad.
Sony, please give Marvel Spider-Man. Just give him Spider-Man outright, please.
Just make a deal.
Because this is continuing down the line of...
We still got Craven.
Hey, Sony.
Hey,
Sony.
Sony, you got $20? You want some $20?
You want $20, Sony? It's more than Madam Web made you. Like, you want
nothing in this movie.
This is 100% Fry with the Take My Money.
That is enjoyable. that is a good story. That is justification for holding on to the Spider-Man universe property.
None of it. You could make so much money just selling it, or even just making the like a very long-term deal.
And the biggest insult is that you said that there was a problem with the third Spider-Verse movie, so they had to basically go back and redo it, so it couldn't be released this year. So this is what we get, and we get nothing else really in return for it.
No, we get more worse things like Venom and possibly Kraven.
Well, Venom makes them so much money by comparison. Which is,
not this time.
Not this time, no.
Not this time.
But their track record thus far, up until this one, has like
it's been diminishing already.
I know, but still, it's gotten them more money. I mean, if you hate yourself, watch this movie.
That is fair.
The villain in this movie,
the audience.
The
audience for paying to see this pile of shit.
The villain in this movie, they ADR'd every single line of his in the entire movie.
Yep.
And it doesn't even match his lip movements.
No.
This is like a bad English dub anime with the villain in this.
And he's just he's the sexy Hispanic Spider-Man.
I don't understand his motivation. I don't understand I don't understand really anything about this.
This bitch is gonna kill me someday.
Sure. And
I know I've been drinking, but is Pedro Pascal like Hispanic?
Sure.
What is he? Like, what is that guy?
He's
Pedro?
Yeah, what's
You
Pedro?
mean Pedro? You think he might be Hispanic?
He's part
Dude,
Cuban.
that guy
He's
is
Cuban.
chameleon. Like, if they were like, actually, he's Vulcan, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Well,
like,
he's not in this movie, but-
what is that
He's
fucking
part,
guy?
part Cuban. I think the other part is one of his mom is
whatever.
Middle Eastern or something like that. One of
Jesus.
the Middle Eastern countries. I don't know. I don't recall specifically. But I want to point out something here.
He's like a
The
Decepticon
picture-
villain.
the
He's like 8
picture-
different things jumped together to form one thing. Fuck me. He's a Destructicon?
Yes.
Is he a Destructicon?
is,
is that what you're
Yes, he
saying?
is.
100%.
Oh, Chilean. Sorry, Chilean.
There it
You
is.
know,
My apologies.
we don't get to talk about the Destructicons enough now that I
No.
think about
Which
it.
one do you think he is? Do you think he's the bulldozer, or do you
No,
think
he's the thing. He's
He's
the
the whole
thing.
thing?
He's the whole
Pedro
thing.
All of it
Pascal. Like they,
All together? All right,
the
fair enough.
Destructicons jump together and form a Pedro Pascal. Everybody knows
so
that.
All right.
One last thing I'd like to point out about this movie. You guys don't have to talk about this movie. I don't care. This picture is the biggest lie
Yeah, they showed
of this movie.
for
Yeah, totally.
15 seconds.
Costumes.
Not
were
even
no
15 seconds in,
costumes,
because
you
by the time
white
she's got that
bitches.
costume on, she's
The movie's
blind.
over. The movie's over.
She's wearing sunglasses.
No, you're fine.
No.
You're fine.
No, that's
I'm
what
just
they
pointing out-
released.
They were
That's what
selling
they
this
They told us
before
that
the movie
was
came
fucking-
out.
This was what the
This
movie
was
was.
promo footage.
You're gonna get all this in the movie.
Yes.
You did,
For,
and then we threw it
Oh,
away.
man.
but you had already gotten it in the trailer, so
Not only that, but you put Sydney Sweeney in this movie, and she doesn't even come close to getting naked once. I mean, what's the point of putting her in the movie then?
We're whiz.
I-
All right. Can we not talk about this movie more? Let's
Yep.
go to the next one.
Yeah.
oh no, you guys got one to talk about later.
All right. Here we go. James.
No, and I'm doing this on purpose, motherfuckers. This is Long Legs. Fuck you for liking it. Fuck you for thinking it's interesting. Fuck you for thinking it's smart. I'll tell you what Long Legs is. It's Silence of the Lambs for morons. It's like, it's first off, it's comically ripping off Silence of the Lambs. It's like it's ripping off. It's its own movie the way Garbage Pail Kids was its own thing from Cabbage Patch Kids. Like, yeah. I get it. You're so different. You're a sticker, right? Not a doll. Like, that's how different this is from Silence of the Lambs. Here's the big catch. Silence of the Lambs was written by this guy, Ted Talley, the screenplay. He would also write the screenplay for Red Dragon. He also is a much better writer than anybody working on Long Legs. And so it's a couple of things I want to say about this movie. One, when the big twist is the monster was living in your house the whole time and you mentally blocked it out. Spoilers. Fuck you. You can't spoil shit. You mentally blocked out that the bad guy lived at your house? You mentally blocked out that the bad guy lives at your house. Oh, I'm sorry. This was written by the world's stupidest humans ever. Like, that's what it was. To the lead actor in Long Legs, not moving your arms doesn't make a character choice. That's not a character. I don't move my arms when I walk. Got it. You did. Fucking, you have really earned that $300 acting class you took before you filmed this fucking movie. You horrible piece of shit. You dumb script. Nicolas Cage obviously on drugs, so they always kept the camera a little off frame of him, like an artistic interpretation of what a Nick Cage on drugs looks like. Long Legs is unwatchably horrible horror shit trying to act like it is interesting and smart. It is not interesting, it's not smart. Everything about it's an FBI agent trying to track down a hidden serial killer, and there's a lot of crazy shit going on, and they keep having to go visit a serial killer in a jail cell. It is beat for beat and knock for knock, Silence of the Lambs, written by morons, acted by worthless actors, shot by an idiot, edited by morons. It's just fucking terrible. And everybody's like, man, Long Legs was really good. You're an idiot. You suck. As you're the guys who were trying to tell me.
Remember the time on this video, because we're gonna cut out a clip for this.
Just like me
rap
bashing
right
Long Legs.
It's
Fuck
just-
Long Legs.
and then it's gonna be an advertisement for the movie.
Nobody in the
It's
movie
gonna
had Long
say
Legs.
2 stars.
0 out of 5 stars.
it's the tail end of the millennials and all of Gen Alpha proving that they have not watched old movies and thinking that it's
so bad.
Ideas.
I have horror friends that are like, dude, I kind of fucking friends of mine like Long Legs, and I'm just like, anyway. I put it on my list. I saw worse movies than Long Legs this year. I put it on my list because everybody likes it, and I'm like done with that shit. No. We gotta stop it. We gotta stop this.
It's the worst. I did not see it. Did you see it?
No, I did not.
Okay. Well, then let's move the fuck on. Good rant though, James Kopp. That was a top notch. That's a 5-star James Kopp rant right there.
That's what you come to the show for.
How dare you guys like something I
Here we
don't?
go. Here we go.
You'll have fun with this because
Okay, James.
Real quick. We're just gonna raise hands. Whose list is this from?
Because I have James's hand's not showing. There we go. I have still not been forced to watch this as part of this program yet.
Oh yeah.
And that will not happen until next year right now. So I'm good at the moment.
All right. Well, it's a fucking hunk of shit. This one is.
I could teach a class. On how bad this film is. Like,
So
I really
bad.
thought about it.
The more I think about it, the more I get pissed off about it, because
It's really
decision,
kind of upsetting.
It's like it was purposeful. Like, I'm starting to believe that this guy had some chip on his shoulder and did this shit on purpose, because
Maybe.
it feels like he wanted to tank it, even though I didn't really like the first one, and I had a lot of big problems with the first movie.
Yeah, it had
movie,
moments though. It had concepts. It had moments that were interesting.
And I understood the reason why people liked it, and I felt like he legitimately, purposefully shit on all of those things, and made it worse for people like me too. So what a way. I will applaud it for what a way to waste a bunch of fucking Warner Brothers money. Like,
if you were trying to kill a studio, good job.
And the trial of Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah, and Wile E. Coyote. Yeah, so fuck you, and kind of whatever. Who's this? Who did this one? What's the guy? Todd Phillips.
Yeah, Todd Phillips,
okay,
the Hangover guy.
Good job, Todd Phillips. If you did this on purpose, I don't really need to know. Just let me believe it and take credit for it and feel good.
Just give me a sign, and I'll take anything you do.
It really is. It's kind of a masterpiece in it's a work of art in failure. Like, it really is. Everything in this movie fails to such an extent it's hard to believe that they didn't know that it was gonna fail. Like it's like there was a story that came out that like fucking Lady Gaga's upset that nobody likes the movie and her performance in it. All you do is smoke and stand there. Like how certainly by the third week of just smoking and not saying anything of interest, you were like, "Hey, I don't think this is gonna be a good film." And like at no point that crossed anybody's mind. Like it's like all we're doing is smoking and not doing anything. When is this gonna get interesting, good, or say or do anything?
Maybe,
And so
maybe in the
And you
actors.
had to have heard Joaquin Phoenix and these other people singing compared to how you sing.
is it singing? Is it singing? Because they don't sing
She
a
was
song. They
singing.
sing like
She was
they
singing.
for 30 seconds.
Well, that one song.
Like, and there is no song that's full length song. They say it's a musical. Well, a musical likes music and puts music at its most important parts. This is a musical, as in two people sing the repeated 2 or 3 lines of a song for 30 seconds and then we move on.
This is a musical where every song says, I dress like a clown, so I'm gonna sing a song that's about clowns.
This is a musical in the way
That's it.
Muppet Babies
What
was an
song
action
came out
film.
about clowns?
Like, not at all. Like,
But
actually,
the rights are
not
cheap.
a thing.
So, yeah.
Hey, I saw Muppets Take Manhattan.
That's an action film.
I know.
This is
Muppet
not a
Babies are in
musical.
that. The
Yeah.
Muppet Babies are in that.
That's true. That's true.
It's so rough. The opening starts with animation that kind of sums up the last show, the last movie. That's a smart concept. That's a really smart idea. Like having a cartoon thing. The animation's lazy. Like the animation looks bad. As in, like they didn't spend any money on it or had any planning or storyboards or anything. It just looks like shit. Like it's like, oh, you don't know. It's supposed to be 1940s animation. I know. Cuphead, motherfuckers, did it 30 times better than anything in the opening of this movie. It's a musical.
And they
Cool.
were
They
an
got some original
independent
songs.
company.
No original songs. There's only one original song, and it'll be one line repeated again and again and again. You ever seen Dr. Horrible Sing Along blog? It's an independent by Joss Whedon about supervillains in a musical. They have 5 original, really great songs, and then like 3 more original songs. Why? Because that's an actual musical about supervillains, and this is not. It's a failure across the board in every way. Joaquin Phoenix is boring. They don't let him speak. They fucking Zack Snyder Superman him, where he's not allowed to talk for the first hour of the film. Lady Gaga, who I like, is comically worthless in this movie. Like, is one character in one scene, a completely different character in the next scene, and then a completely different character in the third scene, and not in an interesting way. In I forgot my script, so I'm just gonna say whatever
And the
line my
fucking
cat told
sex
me.
scene is just it's seared into my head, and it just
I actually think the sex scene is the one part of this movie that works because we all remember how shitty it looked.
Y'all get
And it was
No.
like, at least you did that right.
Y'all got
No.
you all got
Like,
fucked at the same time.
no, it was so bad. All right, let's stop talking about this movie until we make
Fucking
Matt
terrible,
watch it.
terrible.
I-
Boo,
We will
boo,
definitely-
tomatoes,
We will
tomatoes.
definitely do a commentary on this movie.
So
This has to
before,
happen.
God.
before
First
Daredevil.
watch for Matt.
Before
so-
Daredevil Reborn.
All right.
I actually would be more interested in a Mystery Science Theater revival. It really is at this point like Manos Hands of Fate level
well,
of filmmaking.
they still do that. It's called Rift Tracks, and they still
Yeah,
they still
exactly.
go
It's like
on.
then do one for Joker too, because that's how bad it is.
Fuck those guys. We're gonna do that. We already do that. We already steal that
there you
idea
go, there
from
you go.
Mystery Science Theater
Yeah,
3000.
I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna guess this is gonna segue. Hopefully.
Do you hear that, best friend? We're gonna be doing stuff together.
Hopefully it segues correctly. You brought up Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
What's the next movie?
Yeah.
Clarissa?
I was pretty positive we were all gonna.
Okay, I got a couple jokes.
Okay, let's hear it.
2024 is so bad. Zack Snyder's coming out with a cut. Ta-da!
Hey.
Oh, he's
Oh,
topical.
God.
Whoa, topical.
Rebel Moon. Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
Let me talk directly to you, Zach.
We did a commentary for this one.
We did live watch on this
It's
one.
fucking-
Zack Snyder. First off, we get it. You're bi. I'm glad you keep telling us in every movie that you're bi. It's cool. It's cool and everything like that.
You make pretty images. You make pretty images,
you
Zach.
do. You do.
You do.
But you know what? You can't write for shit.
No.
You can't direct for shit. I don't care how decent, okayish your first movies were. That you had a career built out of it. Great. Congratulations to you.
Your visualization has been the thing that shined.
Yes.
That's it.
Maybe
Be happy
you
with
know, Spielberg said this a couple of times. Spielberg said if George Lucas had never made Star Wars, the world, because he made Star Wars, the world lost the greatest editor ever. He was like, Spielberg always defended Luke. He was like, Lucas sucks talking to people. He sucks explaining things. He is the world's greatest editor. And when they were doing Raiders of the Lost Ark, Spielberg spent 4 weeks filming that ending. 4 weeks on a soundstage, having Stanley Kubrick call him a bitch the entire time. And he's fucking filming Raiders of the Lost Ark. I fucking look it up. You think Kopp's drunk and crazy. He's not. Look it up. And when they get to the final movie, he had all this effects, all this money spent on it, and George Lucas edited it down to like 2 minutes. And Spielberg was so mad it ended their friendship for a couple weeks until the movie got released, and everybody said, I'm going to watch it a second time. Why? Because of that ending. And Spielberg had to drink a great big glass to shut the fuck up because his friend edited a better ending than what he had in his head. And it's Zack Snyder, you are a director of photography like a motherfucker. Please watch your own work to see that there is no direction, there's no script, there's no anything. And then you have shots that are fucking beautiful.
Yep.
Know what you are
Every
in life.
time.
And I know somebody told you along the way you should direct, and we're telling you you shouldn't.
And
so
people are giving you money to direct. I don't know why they
that.
keep giving you money, but they are.
Because he had enough successes in the business to swing his dick and say, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do my whole thing. And there was enough people who gave him all that he needed for the release of the Snyder Cut bullshit. When Whedon came out with his version, that he had that swinging dick to go throw at Netflix, and Netflix threw him a bunch of money to make this fucking dog.
Which is funny that 2024, the year that the truth about the whole Snyder Cut thing came out, that was a propaganda bullshit perpetrated by Warner Brothers, and it wasn't really a fan base thing or anything else like that. And Snyder kind of was in the back end of that as well. And it's like, okay, cool.
No surprise here.
Yeah, I know. No surprise here. So, Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver. I'm sorry for myself that I remember the full title of this movie.
How about say? I was calling that shit Not Without My Potatoes. Like, I'm still calling it Not Without My Potatoes.
That is a more apt title for this movie. Farming sim live action.
Wheat Wars.
That there's supposed to be a third one, and the story sets up a third one that, I don't know, Netflix will probably give money at some point to make a new one. And that there's a director's cut. I don't know if it's come out yet or not, but there's supposed to be a director's cut for this.
I love that.
Who the fuck cares? Like, I have.
It's almost quaint. It's almost like at this point, it's becoming adorable. Like, it's like I'll be 98 and be like, did you hear about Zack Snyder's Paddington? There's a Zack Snyder cut of his new Paddington. Real fucking nuts. A lot of the alpha geeks think it's really great. Like, I gotta hear about. Oh man.
The first movie kind of had a story. It was a big ripoff of all the big sci-fi action movies, but it kind of had a story going for it. This movie has no story.
I think that it would be
you
interesting.
Don't care about any of the characters.
I think that Zack Snyder, might be interesting if you want to try something new. Go be the director of photography or director for a video game, because so much of the good things that I see, that visually good things, they look like video game cutscenes. They look like something that you would see in a video game. Go do that. You know what I mean? So let Star Wars people, Disney, let him do that with the Star Wars thing. Let him envision the scenes that he
Rebel
won,
Moon is his
you
Star
know?
Wars take, and it
Yeah.
sucks. And so it's like,
Yeah, it
but
sucks,
maybe his
but it
video
looks
game would be
cool.
better. I don't know.
Like it looks cool. There are some really cool looking things. There's some really cool looking ideas. Like, yeah, you know, I would have loved to have seen his take of that spider bitch in a Star Wars universe. You know what I mean? I would have loved to have seen his take,
That was still the
you know
first
what I
movie.
mean, on this more, you know, samurai kind of, you know, style Star Wars character too. You know what I mean? A lot of these things, you know, the droid that has sentience. You know what I mean? Like all these things are great Star Wars ideas.
I'm just thinking of that shot of him from the first movie at the end where
Yeah,
he's like,
just
"Yep,
like,
I
yep.
was in it too."
Hey, remember
Remember
me?
Like, yeah,
That you
yeah,
wanted
we
to see
remember
more
Robot.
of me.
And-
Come back for more pain the second time around. Maybe I'll be in that one, eh?
Yeah,
Eh?
not much.
Did you like
The-
me? Because I know I was never brought up or used
Yeah.
at all. I promise I'll be back if you just
Yeah.
buy another ticket.
The first.
Make sure you watch this because if you want this voice actor to stick around till the third one, you better get cracking because
Nah, they gave
Yeah.
they gave
Pretty
money
old.
for a Transformers movie. He's
yeah, it's pretty
Anthony
old.
Hopkins doesn't. Anthony Hopkins takes the check and
Yeah,
goes.
let's just
with
hope they
nowadays.
make it in enough time that
Um,
he makes it. That's what I'm saying.
The first movie, like I said, not a great movie, but at least interesting to see, watching everything else like that. Zack Snyder. Why the fuck did you think that basing an entire movie on the most boring ass planet in any galaxy in any movie was a good idea?
Yeah, he's like that because that's how they started Star Wars, and they're like, no, but he got the fuck
Yeah.
off of that planet
You-
immediately.
You also got off the
And
planet in
did
the first
not
But
come
movie.
it's also like you don't even know the source material you're talking about because your threat, your evil empire shows up and says, "You're gonna give us 20% of them potatoes, or we're gonna get real mean with yous." And it's like, dude, Star Wars opens with A New Hope with a giant ship chasing a little ship. And then when the little ship won't give up the plans, they blow up a fucking planet. Like, and that's like hour one of Star
Mhm.
Wars. Star Wars hour one did more than your 18 hours of fucking Rebel Moon. So it's like you can't be a Star Wars movie if you don't understand the concepts that it kind of gives. And the concept Star Wars very much is, Morrison said this best. John Morrison once said, everybody in Star Wars barely accomplishes whatever goal they're doing, no matter what the goal is. If it's, I want a peanut butter sandwich, the whole room will bust into fire and people will be firing lasers at you as you try to make the goddamn peanut butter sandwich.
You'll lose
And
a
it's
piece
like,
of bread.
because
You'll be like,
even-
whatever, I can fold it in half. It's still a sandwich.
Well, it's like, dude, even the scenes in like Empire of them resting in it turns out to be a giant space lizard's mouth and we need to get out of here. Like even scenes that are slow are never slow. There's always some sort of big sort of thing that's attacking them or moving everybody forward. And you didn't do that at all in Rebel Moon. We got orgy dance party rave scenes, but it's like the Imperial trying to muscle the world's shittiest moon for 20% of their fucking potato crop. Like it's just, I don't even know why we're watching this at that point. Like it's just so fucking removed from anything that would be interesting or have high stakes. Here's what I'd say to Zack Snyder. What are your best films, Zack Snyder? Because people seem to believe you're a great filmmaker. And what are your best films? If I remove myself from everything, your best films are Dawn of the Dead, 300, Watchmen. I can't think of another one that everybody defends, but everybody defends 300, Dawn of the Dead, and Watchmen when it comes to Zack
Fair.
Snyder. Am I missing any?
No, you're not. But Watchmen brings up a good point, something you just said, where you restated Zack Snyder. You're misinterpreting the source material.
A little bit.
Well,
but
that clue was given back in Watchmen.
But let's get back just a second. Those three items I talked about, 300, written by Frank Miller, a very successful, very talented writer. Dawn of the Dead, based on George Romero, very successful, talented writer. The adaptation that you did was written by James Gunn, who wind up being, I don't know, a pretty fucking good writer. Drink. And the third one you did was Watchmen, written by Alan Moore. Rebel Moon was written by some dumbass named Zack Snyder. So it's like maybe your great, beautiful visual images that we all love. And dude, Zach, I think your movies are shit, and you've got me a couple times. You got me during He got me during Watchmen twice, where I was like, oh my god, that's it. That's perfect. He got me during Dawn of the Dead when I went in with such haterade for somebody remaking Dawn of the Dead as a bubblegum pop movie. I went into that movie going, I can't wait to shit all over it. And I walked out going, I think I'm going to recommend this movie to other people. Like, that is talent. You have talent. Not in writing. Not in writing, motherfucker. Not one day in writing. You have talent, the visual medium. You need to be pinned with a good writer. You didn't realize it, but 300, you were pinned with a good writer. Watchmen, you were pinned with a good writer. Dawn of the Dead, you were pinned with a good writer. The rest of your fucking movies, you've been pinned with some jackass that doesn't know how to write.
We haven't even reached TV yet. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to hour 2 of our marathon.
Yeah, that's
Talking
right.
about
Let's move on
2024.
to our best TV
No,
show.
I think we have one more.
Are you sure?
We have one more.
Okay, we do. All right, let's do it.
We do have one more.
We all have one more.
Oh, okay. Well, that's why we
nice.
forgot we started so late.
We're not even like halfway through everything. Like that's not good.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Borderlands.
This movie. One of our two of our couple of our worst movies of the year are the ones we did live commentary for.
Yeah, we did.
How do you know? And the other 2 movies we did live commentary for this year were the original Fantastic Four movie that was. Go look up that story and see how that was. And the Chipmunk Adventure. Two movies that were
3 out of 4 were real shit. That Chipmunk movie though, it was real problematic. But I'll still defend it.
Oh no, we defend the Chipmunk movie because this year is the year of Dan Schneider.
Oh yeah.
He's come back, ladies and gentlemen. Dan Schneider, welcome back to our discussion.
Yeah, exactly.
You went away during Agatha, but now you've come back in all your glory.
Who doesn't love Head of the Class and wants to know what that cast is still doing?
Yeah. Where
are they now? Head of the Class, dead. Currently blacklisted from Hollywood. Why? And that's where you go down that iCarly route.
Oh, Borderlands.
I think Dan Snyder is all that. No.
Oh God. There you go.
That's all I have to say about Borderlands.
Yeah.
Really.
No. That's all I have to say about Borderlands.
Borderlands. I'm sorry, but they've been making good video game adaptations for a little while now.
Yeah, there's been a couple.
Why did we still release you?
No, they haven't. You fucking liar.
Recently.
You fucking liar.
No, I'm not.
Going.
Recently, they have. Just because you hated the Super Mario Brothers movie doesn't mean it wasn't a decent adaptation.
Yeah, all right.
The Last of Us.
2 out of 100 makes it fucking a streak.
I'm not saying. No. I'm saying recently we're finally coming around to doing decent adaptations of video games, and this movie just reminds us. Oh yeah, everything before was shit.
It's still gonna be more misses than there's gonna be hits.
Yep,
for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kevin Hart was on like the P. Diddy party list for like whatever they were doing, and then this came out, and like it was like, oh man, like you could almost hear his publishers saying like, hey, build up the P. Diddy list, all right? Like if you're on any talk shows this week, get up the P. Diddy. Don't mention Borderlands. Like it's okay. Listen, that means you're cool, right?
Borderlands, I don't even know what we need to say that we didn't say in our commentary. Just go watch our commentary for this movie. You'll know everything. This is another one where it's just like every choice was the wrong choice to make. And I mean, look, God forbid you left out the best villain of the series for the villain. What's wrong with you? Fuck this movie.
I don't know. They included failure. Like, and I think failure in the video game series, like you lost, like you lose, you don't complete. Yeah.
You did die a lot.
It very much felt like a failed game. Like,
I did feel like I was playing
I had to insert more quarters for it to get good.
Software fucking version of Borderlands game.
No, from software, I'm worth. From Software games are fun to torture yourself to try to get through them. This
I
wasn't. This was not fun to torture
I
ourselves to
disagree.
try to get
I
through.
disagree. I don't like those games at all. All right. Buck this. That's the end of the worst movies of the year. Let's get back into some good stuff. Good-ish stuff. Well, all right.
That's
Fallout.
it's on mine.
That's
How
also
many?
on mine.
Raise hands. How many was this on the list?
This
Me.
was on my list.
All right,
All
cool.
three?
All three of us.
Oh, wow. Did we sweep?
We did. We just left from this one. James Kopp, video game adaptation.
Yeah, there's another video game. one,
Video
too.
game adaptation that I didn't like all the way through,
Who?
but
Oh, I didn't do Fallout.
Oh,
Oh.
just me and James. All right, cool. Well, you can talk about it too.
I
Oh,
It,
so-
and
oh,
I
yeah,
went
that's
back
right,
and
okay.
forth. I went back and forth with this and the Batman animated series because I think the Batman animated series was good, but I don't think it was as good or interesting as Fallout. So Fallout has so much going for it. It's got a great concept. It's got so many fun things. It's got a rich lore that the video game designers put into the game, and
And they
the
worked
TV
very
show-
closely with them to make this show.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
it's very evident that they let those video game people be like, no. This is going to be important. You need to have these things, you know what I mean? And actually listen to them and didn't just throw it away,
as much as I'm a hater, this TV series got more right than it got wrong. And it was like I still had problems with this show. My favorite phone call was from my mother, who said, "I saw the Fallout. I don't agree with you. I like it. It's still good." And it was such a sweet, nice phone call from your mom calling you and going "Why are you shitting on things that aren't that bad?" Which my mother is actually Benny Hill and drag apparently.
I don't remember that about your mother at all, and I've met her plenty of times.
I ripped off Benny Hill's wig. We had this whole fight. My dress flew off.
You
It
ran
was
around.
Then
It was
there
so-
Yeah,
was
yeah.
crazy
He had a
affair.
wind blower. My
Yeah.
dress flew right off.
Uh,
And so long as it ended with female nudity,
Yes.
that would shock, scared. But it's Fallout did more right than wrong. I got really annoyed with some of the storytelling and some of the stuff they did, and it very felt padded. Not Kenobi padded, but it felt like there's no show I've seen outside of one of my picks where it was like you could have cut stuff out. And Fallout was like you could have cut half this out almost, and it would have been an even better show. And so that's never a good moment. But what they did get right, the casting, the look, the feel, oh my God, those are great.
Yeah.
So we have The Last of Us, one of the best shows of 2023, which was
An
It-
oddity
it-
in the video game to media production
It-
is an
it is,
oddity,
but
not a
twice.
standard.
it is.
An oddity.
It is, but at the same time, it's based off a property which is basically a story that a video game is built around. They kept the story. They made a few changes, which I think
Yep.
were good choices for making the changes for the show, and kept it faithful enough that and the acting was great for it, that it was a great show because of all the things that already existed with it and the few things they added into it. Fallout as a series is you can make as many Fallout games as you want to because basically you're just kind of making a storyline around one of the vaults that you pick. There is lore bits you pick up from and everything else like that. But why I enjoyed this myself and why I think it was one of the best shows of this year is that it was faithful to the lore. It didn't have to be faithful to any of the individual games. But the things they put in this show that were absolutely unnecessary, but were video game related and done in such a wonderful way for those of us in the know that's these video games and video games of that ilk, especially when she's talking to that farmer guy. It just is one of those conversations you have in a game with an NPC. It's
When things are just going that way. Yeah. This almost I thought it was on my list because it almost made my list, but I remember it's something edged it out. So, but yeah, I thought this show was great. You know what I mean? I really enjoyed it, and it was very close. I can't wait to see the next season. And fucking old Wally Goggins as the ghoul is amazing, and it was really funny to watch a bunch of women throughout the world obviously be flicking their bean, thinking about a zombie throwing it down. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
think the
appreciate that.
cast is so great and the look and style of lore are so great. Like it's like we forget that and I think it's why so many of us get mad at video game adaptations. Because when we're playing a video game, all of us play Doom and we know exactly what that movie should look like. It should be a John Carpenter battling, killing aliens, monster mash movie. And it was like we all have played video games where we like, I know exactly who should direct this and do this. And there is at least 2 or 3 video games being turned into movies or TV shows each year, and all of them suck. And so it's been nice that, again, not the standard, completely out of left field, The Last of Us, and completely not out of left field, but getting there was Fallout, where it was like, wow, you are trying to keep a lot of the game alive, and you're still giving us decent content with it.
Hey, I don't know if it came out this year or last year, but I will give a little honorable to another video game one, which is the what's the one with the cars that Falcon's in?
Yeah, that was that Twisted
Heavy
Metal.
Metal,
Twisted Metal. Twisted Metal.
Twisted Metal's pretty
I
good.
believe
too.
that was the end of last year.
Oh,
Okay. Well, what's the next one?
RC Racer was good too.
Yeah,
That one's already was out of order.
that's all good.
This one is
Whatever.
Okay, this is mine. Okay, this is one that you would be surprised. The Ted TV show, which is a prequel, which you already hate, James, I know, is fucking amazing.
Here's what's gonna. I gotta expose a secret before we go any further. I have not watched any of Ted 2. However, the Ted. I haven't watched Ted. I haven't watched Ted 2, and I have not watched Ted the TV show. And this is my disrespect for my dislove of Family Guy and mostly Seth MacFarlane. I think Seth MacFarlane's funny. I think he is funny. Like I think he has. God, Stewie and Brian with the upside down kid's head is still one of the hardest times I've laughed at television. Where he does write things that are funny sometimes, where it's like, oh, you are actually a very funny individual. On TikTok, my algorithm has picked up that I really like the Ted TV show, so it keeps showing. And I haven't seen any episodes, but I keep watching clips that are like, that's funny. That's a funny concept. Go more into that.
Yeah,
We had an Indian kid last year, but we caught him. Nice guy, used to share his dungaroos. Like fucking, I can recite some of the lines from a show that I have not seen, and it's because some of the clips are very good. So go on.
I was not like a big Ted movie fan. Like I watched them
Who
both.
the fuck is?
You know what I mean? I thought they were funny enough, but let me
Yeah.
tell you something. This show, I think, is better than both of the movies, and I don't really think you have to watch the movies at all to give a shit about the show. You can watch the show without.
It's a
even watching
kid
it.
that made a wish on a star, has a magical teddy bear. There you go.
This
Move
kid-
on.
The kid that plays young Marky Mark is amazing as well. He's
Really good. Like
is it Maria Bamford who plays the mom? I don't know who plays the mom, but she's amazing.
mom's funny. Yeah.
And the dad's hilarious too. But I don't know their names, but you would definitely.
Well, the
recognize
mom
them.
was the mean waitress from Waiting. She's been in a bunch of stuff. That's like
that's it.
I'm
she's a character actor, but she's really good. You know.
What's that again?
Alana
Alana
Ubat.
Ubat.
She's the chick from Waiting.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
she's from Waiting, and
Which is funny. That's why we don't know who you are. That's a fun name.
she's from Always Sunny. She plays the crack whore on Always Sunny. She's great.
Like you do.
Yeah,
like
great
you do.
character actor. I say give it a try. Like
right.
it's definitely not something that I thought I was going to come into and like. And I was scrolling through, kind of just really looking hard for things that I thought that stood out to me. And when I saw this, like this was one where instantly I was like, oh, this one's got to go on my list. Like You know, this one edged out Fallout for me, and I really liked Fallout. You know what I mean? But this one, I just felt like was more of an out of left field thing. I feel like a lot of people probably haven't watched it, and I definitely think that it's one of those that's out there that's worth checking out. So.
I have not seen. I've seen clips, and I've enjoyed every clip I've seen, which seems odd because the Ted movies, they're fine. They're funny and really funny at certain times, and otherwise the movies themselves just whatever.
Yeah.
So
the fact that this is a teddy bear is barely the joke in this show, though. Like it's just a very well written show with great characters.
From what I see of the clips online, anyhow, of what I watched, because I haven't watched much of it, it very much feels like a new take on All in the Family.
Yep.
Where you have a bigoted or conservative or very racist father figure, and then the daughter figure is super liberal, and they are fighting the whole time. And then on top of that, what you have is a teddy bear with Seth MacFarlane's comedy style, which is its own thing. You either like it or you don't. Making commentary while that's going on. And while that's not an original idea, that's not a bad idea. Like that's not bad. Like it's like it's an idea for a show.
It's not being done right now.
We're gonna do All in the Family and add Seth MacFarlane sitting in the room cracking jokes at All in the Family.
Right.
And it's like, but he'll make references about Back to the Future and shit. Don't worry, it'll all be there. And it's like, but that doesn't. It works.
So having not seen the show itself or anything like that, just the mention that you made there, Jay, is that the concept, the smart concept that you have this teddy bear character that the characters in the world accept as a thing. Don't question it. Any standard sitcom or anything like that, everybody would be questioning what this bear is and trying to make jokes out of it.
Well, they talk about it, but it's in the world, it's a known thing because he was all over the news for it.
Again, but again, that's a smart thing that you establish it and then you don't have to worry about that anymore. So
I'm sorry, we're all kids from the 80s that are on this discussion talking. We have been the most accepting motherfuckers ever.
Yes.
I'm sorry, let's go around the room and say what makes time travel possible in Back to the Future. What makes time travel possible?
The flux capacitor.
There you go. There you go. The most bullshit thing ever invented. Yeah. Cool. What are the 3 rules for gremlins? And we all know they're bullshit, but everybody on this
don't get after midnight.
They know all the rules. The bullshit, stupid, make no fucking comical, they make no sense rules, and we all know them. Why? Because that is a relationship when you make media for profit and the audience. You tell us the rules, we accept it.
I'm gonna do
Ted is alive because Kid made a wish on a falling.
So I want to do a real obscure one and see if you remember it.
Okay.
Ernest Scared Stupid. How do you kill the trolls?
I'm sorry, do you know anything about Bavarian Miak? Because I know a little bit about Bavarian Miak. I know that it's fucking milk, sweetheart. No, some of us watched Ernest Scared Stupid a little too close.
Thank you.
Anyhow, but that's what I'm saying. An audience accepts, the audience accepts what you tell us. Tell us what you're telling us and we will accept it. Scrooge is going to be visited by 3 ghosts. Dorothy is in a different land. Gremlins have these ridiculous rules you have to follow. What makes time travel possible? The flux capacitor he developed after he fell off a fucking toilet. That's the story. Why is Ted a teddy bear talking? Because he wished on a magic star. Move on.
No.
Move on.
Yes.
We don't care about how we got to this world. What we care about is stories of the characters and the people and what they're telling.
I agree. I'm not talking about it from our point of view, though. I'm talking about for the characters in the world that they live in's point of view. Because so many sitcoms and so many television shows in the past decade or two have been, you have this outlandish character and every single person has to chime in on it. As opposed to just putting it out there, say, we established.
Or they constantly have to hide them like an Alf.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
it is tricky, but it's been going on for forever. I mean, look at the Peanuts with Snoopy.
Yeah.
Fucking fucking Charlie Brown in a Great Pumpkin salutes Snoopy as he's about to go to his house to imaginary fly around to fight the Red Baron. But Charlie Brown still salutes him as he's walking out. Like, and so what is the world you're setting up? And we will believe it if you believe it, right?
Yeah, we're in. If we're sitting down in front of that big screen in a movie theater, we're
The
ready
audiences
for you to
are
take us
so.
on that ride.
I think that's what gets me angry with filmmakers is the audience is on your side.
Yeah,
like
we
so,
showed up, we paid for the ticket.
Why do you give us Joker 2? Why do you do that? Like, why did you do
No,
that?
no,
like,
no,
why?
we're moving
Like,
forward.
why
Stop.
did
Next one.
everybody
All right,
hate
next
that
one.
We're in
movie?
the
Next
good
one.
parts.
We
Go
have.
to the next
We're
one.
talking about it next year when
All right.
we make me watch it. So we're
I've been
Can't go-
drinking.
all right. So I'm gonna apologize first off.
You go right.
I chose. It's not that I don't like this show. I like the show a lot. I think the show was wonderful. I think it's one of the best things that Marvel has done in a while outside of Deadpool and Wolverine, which is its own thing. Just as a series and everything else like that, and the story that's told and the cohesiveness of it all, it is a wonderful thing. Real quickly, James Cope, did you watch the 2 episodes like you said you would?
Yep. Man, I've been building a ghost of Christmas yet to come, and like for those who don't know who I've been watching, I've been working on a high school production of Christmas Carol that is kind of. I go to work. I wake up at 6:30 in the morning. I go to work at 7:30. I come home at 7:30 p.m. and then I just fall asleep sober. I fall asleep sober like a goddamn idiot.
Poor man.
Clarence, if you can, please bring up the clip from last week where James Cope said that he would definitely watch these next 2 episodes before we did this episode.
Okay.
Just to throw it back in his face. Anyway.
First off,
Yeah,
let's line up the amount
You
of
said it.
humans, mostly female, where I've lied to convince things that have happened. Like
we called you out on your shit on the episode, and you tried to still insist. We knew. Me asking you the question is knowing what the answer is.
That's okay.
My grave will never say James Cope's a liar. You want to know why? Because everybody already knows that. So it's like no reason to put it on
And
the
I
grave.
paid for my own goddamn gravestone anyway, so I've never put that shit on there. That's why.
My
You ain't buying that goddamn gravestone.
my apology on this show. My apology on
Put
this
me in a
show
closet.
is that there's a show that's coming that is going to be brought up by the other two. That I apologize that I forgot came out this year.
Yeah.
I apologize that I forgot it came out this year. Unequivocally, it is a better show overall, but still, this is a wonderful show regardless. Like I said, for as much as James Cope hates the writing, because James Cope has not seen the last 2 episodes, does not understand.
I haven't seen the last.
Does not understand that I made a comment early on that the writing seems to be fitting in together, and some of the things that were said early on, which make no sense, makes a lot more sense because that's how it was intentionally written. Obfuscation aside, for at the time you saw it, it doesn't make any. It seems dumb and everything else like that. But once it all comes together as a one single product, it is one of the more smartly written shows of any show in a long time, because TV is dredge and whatever. But this was so smartly written compared to WandaVision, which you had certain beats and everything else like that Marvel wanted you to hit. There was a story told, but if you go back and watch WandaVision, it is a good series still, but there's a lot of it that doesn't work with some other things that happen when it's revealed what was actually going on, everything like that, because it was more interested in doing the TV bits than it was in fleshing out the full story that was what was really behind WandaVision.
Well, I did watch all of this show.
Yes.
I agree with you 100%. I think it was a very smartly written show. I think it was a fantastic cast. I think the reveals we did get at the end made me want to go back and watch all those episodes again, just to kind of, I mean, I'm not going to say it's a sixth sense, but there's a little bit of that there where it's like, oh, there's some things that I missed, or there's some things that maybe I didn't miss, and maybe I want to watch them again and see, but if you Want to watch me get bullied into thinking that they landed the plane great at the end? You go watch that last episode of Matt and his wife bullying me about how great it was. But what the fuck ever, like, I still agree with you. It was one of the best shows of the year. It didn't make my top 3, but it was one of the best shows of the year, and it was one of the better Marvel shows in a long time.
And I'm also not just putting in this list because I got everything right at the end.
Yeah, I'm sure that's
It's-
not why.
One of the things I do like about the show, one of the fun moments about the show has been talking to younger geeks. There's a couple younger geeks that attack me and talk to me about their opinions, which is good. If you're a younger geek out there, attack older geeks and force your opinion on them. That's the point of being a geek.
Especially with James Kopp. Force your opinion on James Kopp. He loves it.
Yeah.
Well, it's because when I was
if
younger,
you see him anywhere, you should just corner him no matter what.
you
he's
should
doing.
really just like yell at me.
Force
It's,
your opinion. Tell him how much you love
but
long
I-
legs. Tell
Listen,
him how
his
much-
mom calls to do it, so
my
you
mom
can do
calls
it.
me to yell at me about
Yeah.
fucking shit I bitched about. When I was younger, I took such offense that the older generation of horror geeks hated John Carpenter's The Thing. And I will defend John Carpenter's The Thing to this day. And not only that, I think John Carpenter's The Thing
How brave of
sometimes
you.
is
in this day and age. how
What a
of
brave
you.
statement. John Carpenter's The Thing. I'm going to tell you, that's actually a good movie.
no, it's like it. I had a book of all the reviewed films. It was like in the 90s. Somebody
You did. It's
there's
now on
been
my
a couple of
bookshelf. It's
these.
my book.
Ugh.
No, because I ripped this one up and I threw it away.
I
It
have
was
the
a
second
book that
copy.
rated every movie and gave a rundown of every American movie ever made. And it's to geek to cinephiles. It's kind of a famous book. And when I got to John Carpenter's The Thing, they gave it 2 stars. And they said, although there is some good technical achievements in here, watch the original Howard Hawks. John Carpenter's is just a gross fest trying to scare you with gross techniques. After I read that paragraph, I was working at a warehouse at the time. I think me and Matt were living together already at that time. And I took the book outside and I ripped it up and I threw it in the trash. Because I wanted that book in the trash more than I wanted it to exist anywhere else. And it was funny. I felt such a defense of John Carpenter's The Thing. Anybody saying that it wasn't good instantly was like discredited your whole opinion about film. And it's been fun kind of talking to younger geeks where I'm like, oh yeah, I saw most of Agatha All. I haven't finished it yet, but I've been watching it. The dialogue sucks. And younger geeks have been coming up to me and going, well, you're wrong. But, and then they'll like bring up stuff, which I actually kind of, Agatha All Along was not a show for me. It's pretty good. There's a lot of problems with it, but I will say I think the younger geeks fucking love it. Yeah. And it might be a very important show for a lot of people. So in that alone, I think we should kind of hold it up a bit.
Fair.
Especially for those of us who've seen it every episode.
Yeah, especially the ones who finished it.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next one.
Your opinion is invalidated.
All
on
right,
Agatha All
here it
Along.
is right here.
Yep.
X-Men
This is my bad.
97.
This is my bad.
This, if I had to choose a top spot on this would probably be my top spot. But when we get to the next one, it's going to be close.
This is my top spot. This is actually the happiest I was in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of sad, like both in life and watching media. Like I don't think I was happier than X-Men 97. So that's something.
Yes,
Where
this
it was,
it was just such an amazing. It's an amazing feat first and foremost. Okay,
I went in totally to bash this shit.
Yeah.
I went in to ratchet this fucking obvious attempt at a cash grab, nostalgia bait. Fuck you, nothing of interest. Fucking money grab just to like, get the 40.
I did not
this
have
was-
high
this was-
expectations for it at all. Not even.
Yeah, I went
think
into
when we
this
got the
thinking it was
trailer,
gonna be.
I got a little bit hyped for it when we got a couple of the first trailers. I started getting a little bit hyped, but I was still very reserved about how it was gonna pan out.
This was one of those that it's like, I enjoyed X-Men when I was a kid. This looks good, so this should be a fun watch.
Oh, I loved this show when I was a kid.
As soon as I saw that X-Men 97, like as soon as I saw that, I was like, dude, fuck you. I was instantly like, quit trying to sell me shit. Quit trying to fucking not suck my dick and saying you're sucking my dick. Like it's like I just hated this. I hated this.
What a comment
it- it-
considering Bo.
Yeah, and then I fucking watch this, and not only did they take some of the best stories from Uncanny X-Men series run, they knew how to weave it into the already established animated X-Men series.
And they knew
And,
how to weave it into being a television show that was doing things, and this is, I'll give this to you. There was no padding in this. These were 25-minute episodes. Most of them, I think there was like 145 or something. But like quick episodes always felt like you wanted more and always left you on a fucking cliffhanger where you were dying to see the next episode.
Take an hour of X-Men 97 and then watch an hour of anything that came out this year. And it's like, it's no contest. No. And even stuff I liked, like that I will defend, that were good projects, nothing moved like X-Men 97. Nothing went through so much so fast. There was no fat. Every time you had an indulgent scene, the dialogue was so well written. And well written, you just stole all of Chris Claremont's best lines. But that's what you should be fucking doing.
Right.
If you're making an X-Men property, go to the best artist. Zack Snyder's an idiot. He didn't go into Watchmen and go like, I'm gonna rewrite it. And so like, thank fucking God.
Except for the parts that he did.
Right.
Exactly. 20% potatoes, man. Not without my corn. 20% of the crops, you stupid moron. But it's somebody went into this and said, like, let's really look at the issues, Uncanny X-Men 200 to 300, and pull the stories we want, make it work within this, and we dramatize it as best we can. And I know the guy who was like the showrunner for this got fired or whatever, and he seems like a bro. And not the type.
No, he's sure he has an attitude, but I mean, if half the stuff they've said about him is true, he's a lot more problematic than that. And on the gay side of the bros.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
the gay bros I find so fascinating. If there was ever a creature I would watch a series on, like, I know they got the Real Housewives, everything, gay bros. Like, I'm telling you, Bravo, give us gay bros, and I think I would watch that show. Like,
Valley or whatever.
God.
Yeah. They're all like fucking badass, but they're all like getting in your face, being all aggressive, but they can't wait to get a cock in their mouth. Mm-hmm. I don't. It's like I kind of want to see the gay bro stuff. I'm kind of interested in it.
Yeah. Well, I say good luck, sir, on your internet search later on.
Dear Google, I would like to meet gay bros.
Come with me, alcohol. We have a journey to go.
Bros, muscle beach, cock in your mouth. All right, let's move on to the next one, which is the last one, right? This is me and you.
Yes.
This is Penguin. This is a very.
I think Jay's put on his list because.
So it's tough for me. I have only.
Oh, we all three.
Yeah, we all three of us.
James, you watched it.
He watched
some of it.
No, I watched one episode, and so that is not.
That's what we said.
But it's good. It's like, and I like what I've seen so far. So, but it's hard to say like, oh, this is gonna be a great show because you never know. And I'm sorry, I'm such an asshole that it's like you don't know till you know. So it's like I can't.
Promise us you're gonna watch one more episode before
the end of the year.
2 weeks. Yeah.
I will.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
This show took a character that has varied throughout the comic history, has been a joke type character.
You're being so nice right now. He is, dude, God. No, like, if you know the history, he's being so nice right now. But continue.
Has been an intentional joke type character in the live-action show from the '60s, the Adam West Batman.
Burgess Meredith for life.
Yes, Burgess for life, indeed.
I mean, never really taken that seriously in the comics either. Really,
No.
you know, he's always been kind
At
of
all.
like a.
He's a
Even-
goof. Him and in the comics, what you out there don't understand in the movie and TV world, Penguin and Riddler are seen as like comically sad jokes.
Mhm.
Like they're not of any sort of respected area in the comics.
They've
Like,
tried
yeah.
to do more serious versions of them before, and it's had varying degrees of success.
I mean,
Yep.
this entire world of the Batman. I mean, Riddler they try to do as a serious character. It was okay, but it didn't. I mean,
It's all right.
it was a completely different Riddler from any Riddler we've seen.
Hey, arguably
So-
the Riddler has a. You have an easier time turning that into a more interesting, more serious character because he just does Riddlers and he's a fucking serial killer. Like there's a bunch of different ways you could do that, and it's been done a bunch of different times, and Seven and all these different movies like this. You know what I mean? The Riddlers could be done in a very scary and serious way, and it's not a far cry. Not near as far as a club foot guy named the Penguin that generally has a top hat and a fucking umbrella that maybe shoots gas or turns into a helicopter and gets him away. You know what I mean? Like you've got a harder time. You know what I mean?
Which you have to trust it. And it's funny for 2024, we didn't put the show on any of our top lists. I'll talk about it later because on my alternate list, we've had two of the better Penguins in all of the history of anything with the Penguins. In Cape Crusader with the female Penguin, and in this.
It was interesting. It was actually interesting. Like, yeah.
This show, James, does the amazing thing of taking a villain and making you sympathetic towards them, not specifically because of a tragic backstory or anything else like that, but because some of the other characters he's going against are worse, seemingly, and then just turning it all on its head on you at the end.
It's a very interesting way that they make you sympathize with him in this show too, because they make you sympathize with him because he's poor and they're rich. Like really, if you want to break it down to the bare bones, his parts where he's talking to the characters that make you sympathetic towards him is, as you know, he's just as bad a guy as these other people, but they're rich and was handed to them. He is poor and had to fight for it. And so that gives him a little bit of an everyman thing. And then, of course, you have his sidekick who also kind of, gives you that kind of portal where, he has a lot of these opportunities.
This down on his luck kid, I'm going to take him in.
But it also gives him those opportunities to be the different guy. You know what I mean? For the moment. You know what I mean? For a moment, he's a different guy than he's portraying throughout most of it.
Which is strange because the other character in this picture, Sofia Falcone, or Gigante, is unequivocally a better person than him.
Or at least was.
Well, at least was.
At a point.
And she gets the backstory, and she gets the truly tragic backstory. And which makes her a villain, which is
and ending too.
Yeah, which is the more interesting thing. She truly is the more interesting character in this series, but you still, for some reason, root for and are on the side of the Penguin almost the entire way through this show.
Right. It does do that. It makes it makes the situation that the Penguin is very interesting for when he's around. Not so much him, except for in a few specific moments. It does make her far more interesting than how it is. But it does something that a lot of these other shows try to do. Maybe Agatha, maybe some of these other shows where they're building to a thing, but they don't give us much before then. And the thing that they end up with may be very interesting and maybe even makes what happened before interesting. But along the ride, you weren't as interested. In this, with Sofia Falcone, it makes so much of it interesting that I think makes the big turn at the end, you know, where you're just like, holy shit, you know, spoilers, Penguin is a very bad guy. Like, he's not redeemed. He's
He's a
far,
villain.
But he is a
far
villain.
less he's redeemable,
Which is
in those
great.
last
I
couple
love
episodes.
that.
But even though they saved that for those last couple episodes, very similar again to what Agatha did. The meat that is served throughout, that is Sophia Falcone through the whole rest of it, and then that suspense that goes on where he's kind of flying by the seat of his pants kind of the whole time, but you know, making seemingly good decisions along the way for himself at least.
Yeah.
You don't miss it. You know what I mean? You don't miss any of those things that, you know, when you do realize in hindsight, you're like, oh yeah, he really wasn't saying much for 6 episodes. You know what I mean? You were seeing him react, and you were seeing how he reacts to things. You were seeing him be ruthless, but it was kind of all generic. You get the points in the last 2 episodes. You know, again, very much like in Agatha, but then with Sophia, just great. So I highly, highly, highly recommend, if you do get time, James, finish this show because it's wonderful.
You're one of like 10 people telling me to watch it, which is wonderful. Like, it's nice when people actually recommend something that's good.
Yeah. So. And this another, again, was one of those shows when they announced it. It was like, what? Okay, Penguin show.
Yeah, I think we all had
whatever.
that, yeah.
I guess whatever. I'll catch the first episode and see how it is.
I watched the first episode and we didn't finish it until the last episode came out, which binged it. So.
Yeah. Now it's like when that first episode works so well to bring you in to wanting to see more. That's another reason why this is probably one of the top shows of this year.
Yeah.
That it knew what it was doing. It knew that people probably wouldn't care about this character, but would be curious to catch that first episode. And that first episode was so well done to get you hooked to come back for more week after week.
And you didn't care that there was no Batman and they didn't talk about Batman.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
They didn't do none of it. None of it.
Yeah.
They had the repercussions from what happened in the movie.
Yep.
And they used them in interesting ways. Very interesting ways, I think. You know what I mean? But none of it leaned on Batman or the Riddler other than mentioning this fucking psychopath, the Riddler, did this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was that.
Yeah.
You know, and that was beautifully done. So, all right, is that it for best of? We moving into worst? Let's move in to our worst TV shows. If I was a gambling man, there'd be terrible odds for this, but it would be. I know what our first one is. I know what we all agreed on, at least one at least. But let's start with what we maybe didn't.
That's fair.
James.
Yeah. The news in 2024 has been really bad. Like, I didn't see those twists and turns coming, but they came. It was bad writing. It was poor acting. It was depressing.
Another show where the bad guy wins in the end. It's a villain story.
But like, does he win? Does anybody
worse.
win? I don't think there's any winners in the news. I think it's just a bunch of fucking sad fucks. So, it's hard to say, but yeah, like the news is probably the show that I watched most this year, where I kind of went, I have lost all respect for everybody in the world. So that's the more
and amazingly,
hurtful,
the whole year they
downfall
were
of
telling us. The whole year they were telling us they knew what they were talking about, and that we were all stupid. And then in the end, it turns out,
But the thing,
No.
they didn't know much about nothing.
but you know what?
nothing.
You know,
But we're the suckers because we watched them and gave them those advertising dollars.
You know what?
So.
It's our fault, really. And why it's our fault is because this is exactly the same thing that happened the first time.
Yeah.
We're following this character around who is this terrible person. They're telling you they're a terrible person continuously. And the other side is like, no, it's fine. We're fine. We're not don't have to worry about
and
this.
a large portion of the United States are saying we don't give a fuck if they're a terrible person. We are just tired of this woke shit. So there we go.
Yep.
That's
inflation and woke shit. But it's like it's one of those wonderful moments in the world where it's kind of like we can look at the news and go like, oh yeah, we suck. That's all right. So there you go.
Now we see ourselves the way the rest of the world has been seen us.
If I would have known this was an option, this would have got my
TV show.
Oh, I think the news is the worst show on TV. Like anybody who says the news isn't the worst show, the news would agree with it. And the news would agree that like, oh no, we're the worst.
They know what they're doing.
So,
they know what they're doing. All right, well let's move on. This is depressing. So
in America, our attorney general, a nominee, just removed himself because whatever he has done is so horrible. He doesn't want us all to know.
Okay.
I thought that said yellow face, and it doesn't. It says Yellowstone.
Okay.
I have been drinking. I so wish Yellowstone did a yellow face episode now.
Oh my lord!
All right.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So I put this on my list.
Okay.
I have never seen a single episode of Yellowstone. Why? No. Why this is on my list? No. Why this is on my list is because of the business model behind this show.
Sure.
Streaming being the thing that is television nowadays. That's where you're going. You're paying money to see this stuff in the first place. Yes, you were paying money to watch cable shows, but you were kind of limited in what you could see. You're paying money to watch kind of what you want. Yellowstone has taken this idea that, hey, it's a Comcast produced, NBC, Universal, whatever show, but we're not going to put it on the streaming service. If you want to watch it, the newer episodes, you got to pay us extra money to watch the new episodes per episode.
Mm-hmm.
And
people do it all the time.
And but for as big as this is, and I mean this being the biggest show for the boomer generation, one of their last big hurrahs for themselves.
Yellowstone, really, guys? We're gonna go out on that?
Yes, unfortunately, yes, we are.
And I say going out, boomers, please understand, mathematically, but you don't live forever, sweethearts.
Especially
I hate to be the one to tell you this.
Science, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
But video games have been doing this now for a while, which is a terrible thing, which is you have to buy this DLC, which finishes the game that you should have a finished game product in.
Microtransactions on your streaming services for premium content now.
So it's like this is a business model that is going to ruin streaming. I mean, maybe we don't get television anymore. I guess we deserve it. We watch the news, so we deserve bad things. But yeah, this being the show that's going to be the catalyst to go down that route, and more people are going to do it with more shows and everything else like that.
Well, yeah, because they got 4 fucking spinoffs of this show too. So
that is why it's on my worst, because of the business
That's
model
understandable.
and
like
what it's setting up for the
pay
future.
to watch our fucking mediocre content does not make you the winner. It makes you absolutely the loser. So yeah.
Well, they're making billions, and
I mean, first off, fuck you, boomers. This is America's your fault right now, anyway. So you deserve this.
Yellowstone, really? Like that is the
number one show for.
That's it, right there.
For that age group, that is the number one show.
But okay, so
Yellowface is pretty good too. Check that out. I can't wait for everybody.
It's the same crowd that got us to where we're going, James. That's the same crowd that got us to where we're going.
All right, what's the next one? I never saw this show, so I agree.
Yeah, no, that's
with everything.
I have to add it in.
Oh, you got to add it in. Oh, there you go, James.
Go. Did you see the first episode, James? Go.
Haven't even watched it.
That's
haven't even watched it.
I was gonna rip you apart if you saw the first episode and have not watched the last 2 episodes of Agatha.
No, I just was like, I turned on the TV. I wanted to watch Gremlins. God damn it, I wanted to watch Gremlins or Gremlins 2. I swear to God, that was my goal, HBO Max. You got the Gremlins, and I wanted to watch the Gremlins. And they were like, hey, you want to watch more Dune? And I was like, I didn't want to watch more Dune after David Lynch fucked the pooch.
Yeah.
I didn't want to watch
You're like,
more
Matt
Dune
hasn't told me I
after the-
have to watch this yet.
Yeah, after
For the
Sci-Fi
show?
Channel fucked the pooch. I did not want to watch more Dune after your 2 failed attempts at movies. I know you guys think they're good. They're not. And
Okay.
so, like, I don't care for your Dune TV show. No one does.
Yeah, I'm not.
I-
I liked the movies okay, and I'm not interested.
That's
in
very
this
sweet
at
of you.
all.
That's very nice.
Thank you.
And maybe I'll watch it, but it's not. Yeah, I excluded this from letting us know that this was a thing that was coming out for us to have focus on, even because I knew Jared more than me enjoyed the movies, but this wasn't ever going to be a thing that was truly on our radar or something that we would care to watch or anything else like that. Not because I necessarily think it's going to be a bad thing or anything like that, but yeah, it's just.
I want to
whatever.
make this very clear to everybody out there. People I respect, people that I hold in high regard, think the Dune books and some of the Dune movies are amazing. They especially can't shut the fuck up about the Dune books. I've never read the books. I'm never going to read the books. I will go to my grave going like, yes, I lived a fulfilled life because I never picked up a Dune book. Is the last thing I'm going to say before I die. I have seen several Dune movies at this point, and I haven't liked any of them for multiple different reasons. But mostly, if I could break it down, it would be the storytelling, the acting, the cinematography, the fact that it was shot on film, the fact that it was shot on digital, the actors in it, the script that was written for it, the titles they used for it, the pretty much everything involved. The fact that people are still breathing who worked on it. I can't. I
Here we go.
can't not recommend them enough.
Dune 2 could have been on your worst movies list.
Hey,
Really?
yeah.
It could have been.
It could have been. Let's give it up for Mark Strong and making it on both
Hey.
the best and worst of TV
Yes.
for us this year. Okay, let's move on
It's
to
like
the
that's
next
par
one
for the course for him, though.
because we did not see
Yeah.
that one. So
It just started. Literally just started this past Sunday. So
okay, so this is something
Okay,
that
John.
I also didn't see, which is the 26th season of
God.
Law and Order Special Victims Unit. I just have to say
I didn't
that-
even know it was still on.
Yeah.
I didn't know it
Let
was
me just
still
say-
on until right now.
Let me just say, the way they landed the plane at the end of season 25 with the character arcs, I felt like there was unnecessary for a season 26, 100%. Like that's.
It's
just gonna
like
be
you're
my take
talking
on it.
about season 18 of Mr. Belvedere. Like, I didn't know there was this many Mr. Belvederes. And are there still
But this is the thing.
stories?
This
still
is the
about
thing
Mr.
for
Belvedere?
me is how would they have money to still be making this show? Like, what? Why are we still making this show? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like use this money.
Propaganda
For
is my guess.
anything
My
more
guess is
interesting.
propaganda.
hey, remember my comment about why Yellowstone's so popular? It could apply,
Propaganda?
it applies here.
Listen,
The old folks.
I watched the shit. I probably did get to season 18 of SVU, but good lord, like there is just something. You watch a show of this type over and over and over again. There's just,
Dun dun.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's
We'll
it's
get you
just-
the dun dun. Dun dun.
you're gonna end up a story on
that
this show.
that they stopped the original Law and Order. They picked it back up, but they stopped the original Law and Order to continue this one. And this one devolved into
This is back when I liked it.
no,
This
no, yeah,
picture's
no,
back
that
when I
no,
liked
absolutely.
BD
Mari-
Wong.
Mariska Hargitay's character has
I
become the
can't-
focus of this series,
and I hate her. She was my least favorite character.
and
ever.
it yeah. I mean, I haven't seen it in a while, but it's
Olivia
like
Benson character is the worst character on SVU. Has always been, will always be the worst character.
Yeah, the
in
best Law and
movie.
Order episode ever was Community, the Ass Crack Bandit episode. Like that's the best Law and Order. And I know everybody loves Law and
Fair.
Order. I get it. I get
He's
from
also
fucking.
talking about Community, so take a drink.
I don't want to give away secrets right now, but Mr. Kopp is a little drunk.
Nah.
the
We're
best
only at 2/3 through this show, so
the
just
best
chill out.
spin-off Law and Order for me was Criminal Intent. but there's no way they were keeping Vincent D'Onofrio
No,
on for a long period of time, so that's why that show got axed. But Vincent D'Onofrio was wonderful in Criminal Intent.
It was a little like, hey, let's do Monk, but more serious.
Hey, that was fine compared to what SVU became. I'd want more of that still. So
All right, so that was my kind of joke one, anyways. Let's move on to the next one.
I absolutely do not have a joke one in this at all. Not a joke one.
That was my joke one.
Oh, you saw it, James. I don't. I do not have Apple TV, so I did not get a chance to watch this.
I don't either, and I'm just gonna shit on this that I've never watched.
I sense a theme.
We need to shit on Time Bandits. We need to shit on Time Bandits the way
that is fine.
I feel we need to shit on Long Lake
already, so it's fine.
Time Bandits is a perfect sort of film by accident. It has a artistic director and writer who doesn't work in the studio system. He has a concept that doesn't work. And the movie comes out, a bunch of celebrities decide to be in it because they like the script. The Time Bandits movie is a perfect little film. It is flawed 8 million times over, and it's perfect. Time Bandits, the TV show, is an attempt to steal an IP to start a streaming service thing for a heartless, pointless company, Apple TV. And I think we need to call that more out, where it's like Time Bandits only exists because Terry Gilliam was famous because of Monty Python, and he was allowed to give opportunities in Hollywood. And he decided, and I swear to God, these are his own words. He wanted to make a time travel movie about kids, but kids is too hard to deal with, so he just made it little people. Now, if you're saying, hey, kids and little people don't really match up in any way other than height, you're not thinking like a crazy person. Right. Now, if you think like a crazy person, you're like, yeah, that makes sense. Good call, Terry. The difference is Time Bandits, the TV show, had nothing interesting, had nothing. It was all corporate. It was all made by committee. You have a movie that was completely individual to a human that is flawed and fucked up and nuts, but it works because it was that individual voice. I never watched an episode of Time Bandits TV show. I will never watch an episode of Time Bandits TV show because it's the exact opposite of what Time Bandits the TV show needs to be.
Fair.
This also continues Taika Waititi's losing streak of just...
Dude, you made Jojo Rabbit one of the best films of the last 20 years. Knock it the fuck off. Get good.
Well, that's
fast,
the problem
motherfucker, because I watched 2 Thor movies, and I know everybody liked your first one, but here's a secret. Spoiler. The first fucking Thor movie, Thor Ragnarok, sucked. I know you all liked it. It sucked. It is a horrible Thor movie. It's a fun Guardians of the Galaxy ripoff, which would be interesting, except somebody hired you to make a Thor movie. And then the last Thor movie, thank God, I watched it and I was like, what a pile of shit. And luckily, the audiences also felt that way as well. I think this guy is a real talent. Make your own shit. Jojo Rabbit was your own. What We Do in the Shadows was your own. And we're still talking about how great those are.
I agree.
Stop this fucking corporate money grab bullshit IP shit.
I agree 100%.
Shit.
Yeah, I did not see this, but I thought that it was
probably... You're a good human. You're a good human. You'll go to heaven. If you don't see this, you get to go to heaven. If you never watch it and never speak of it, you get to go to heaven.
I do not have Apple TV. I don't have overall interest in getting Apple TV either. So, this is still on my list. This is going to be here for as many years as necessary.
Isn't that from last year?
It is from last year, but it's the worst thing for this year too. Because hey, Secret Invasion, you almost single-handedly killed all of Marvel TV.
Yeah, I put it on my list too.
You guys are not wrong. You're not wrong. It didn't even come out this year, and Secret Invasion is still the worst movie show.
I did it for that reason that I was like, when we went to make this list, I was so convinced that this came out this year that it was the only thing on my list. I was like, well, I know what the worst is. I was like, until I sat down today to look it up, and then I go through and I'm like,
It came out in August of last year.
this didn't come out. I was very surprised, and holy shit.
Oh no, I knew fully well that this not come out this year, but it didn't matter because it still pervades the entire Marvel structure and TV in general.
I'm about to say, because I have a different opinion. Like, when it came out in 2023, I was like, oh, 2023 is when Marvel TV died. And so, like, where it was like, maybe Marvel died. Like, I was very much like, I saw it. I paid to see Doctor Strange 2.
What was
I
the
paid
other,
to see the
Marvel show
Marvels
that came out
too.
this year?
Echo.
Echo. That's
Echo,
right.
Echo is, it was fine.
Meh.
But going to Echo, because I was going to make the point. Echo was a okay show. Why do I bring up Secret Invasion for the or comparison to Echo? Because of how much advertising you still have for Echo, and you had when it was out and it had been out for a month or two and everything like that. Secret Invasion was the exact same goddamn way, and that's what provided the impetus for pushing such a hard, we're going to buy time on YouTube, we're going to buy time on your little streaming services that are throwing commercials in now to push this shit. To remind you of a show that is old but terrible, and we don't want to admit the terrible part of it, even though it's terrible.
Yep.
I always laugh when Disney Plus every now and then does like a Marvel trailer, and they'll show a clip from Secret Invasion. It always makes me laugh.
Yeah,
where
it's
it's
like,
like, oh, you still admit that.
Yeah.
You still like,
I'm good with taking some stuff off of the streaming services, honestly. Like, honestly, just make some cuts. Like, let's make some cuts. Just be like, you know what?
Backroll it.
Yep. We will reference what we need to reference from this, but it will be in dialogue only from now on.
And if you change the canon of what happened in Secret Invasion to say that it never happened, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm totally fine.
I'm
with
good.
That was an alternate. You make that an alternate universe. We are happy.
That took place in a universe that doesn't exist within anything else that
100%.
we're doing.
All right, let's move on to what is this? We're gonna move on to just kind of our other stuff.
Nope,
right?
still the worst. Still the worst of
Oh.
2024.
Did we all three pick
I picked it.
the Acolyte?
I picked it.
I didn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Acolyte. Yeah, I mean, very disappointing. Very, very. One. This is.
You know what?
I
No
think
matter
that-
how disappointed you were, you are not as disappointed as the cast
Oh,
finding
I
out
agree. I agree.
from
But I'm
the
gonna tell you-
trades that they are not coming back.
I believe that when we did our most anticipated things of the year
was.
last year,
It
that
was.
this was at least on the list, if not at the top of the list for me.
Yeah,
Because I
it
was
Not
very
me.
excited to delve into this High Republic era and to be able to, you know what I mean, kind of get some of these backstories of these, the way the Jedi and the Sith come through. Like, you have a very rich universe, whole universe to be able to
Totally.
play with. And they do so little with it, and
Well,
Yep.
they do so much dicking around, you know what I mean? Again, at the end, you kind of give us a couple interesting things at the very end of that show. It takes the whole show to get there, and you give us, even though some of those things are compelling at the end, which I think made a few people sad that it was like, I know it wasn't that great, but I would really like to see what's going to happen with these sort of things, which we know now we're not ever going to know. Unlike in the Penguin, where they did have that, but they had something to give you until you got to that. This had none of it. So
congratulations. Your prize for wanting so much of the High Republic is you'll never get anything of the High Republic
yeah, I know it sucks. Yeah.
ever again for at least a
Most
decade
likely.
or whatever. Lightsabers are cool.
Lightsabers are cool.
Choreography with lightsabers is wonderful.
Yep.
You need more than that though for a full however many episodes this was, because I don't remember anymore how many episodes
That's
this was.
fine if
television
we're
series.
going to the Star Wars.
episodes, maybe.
Stage show at
Yep.
fucking Disneyland California
No.
Adventure or whatever, but
There's an old writing. There's an old writing technique that I Disney Plus has never heard of, that I would highly pitch to a lot of their writers, which is take your ending, whatever your ending is to your story, and make it episode 1. Make it right at the beginning, and then see how much you can write after your own ending. And if the stuff you've written before that ending is brilliant, keep it. But if it isn't, then maybe the ending is what you should have started with. And after Kenobi, after Secret Invasion, definitely. After, and I know that's a Star Wars, but it's just like Disney Plus streaming, where it's like you clearly don't have any plan.
but isn't that the
You're
problem?
just
Sometimes
making
they
shit.
already know the ending because they're doing all prequels. You know what I mean? It's like everything
you
you already
know-
know the ending, and you're just trying to you're trying to fabricate a way to get there. You know, so it's just I don't know.
Well, it's like Kenobi. We left Kenobi going like, wow, there's like 2 amazing hours in this 8-hour shit, and then you come out and find out, oh, it was supposed to be a movie,
Yeah, well,
and it
then
was
why don't
like,
you just
was
make
the
that movie?
2 good hours the movie, and you guys just hired somebody or a fucking AI bot to
And-
write everything else?
Hey, can
And
you,
somebody cut that movie together, and it's available online for you to go watch the 2-hour Obi-Wan Kenobi movie, which is a lot better than the full show that we got.
Yeah.
Th-
agreed.
This,
Sad.
this show, I mean, this show was originally supposed to be, her pitch originally was that she wanted to do an Asajj Ventress show.
Mhm.
They pushed her more towards doing something from the High Republic. She wrote around, but she still took a lot of ideas that she wanted to do for Asajj Ventress. And I think right there is your first problem, is you're still trying to incorporate what you want to incorporate
You're
into
trying-
this structure, and not everyone's considering maybe it doesn't work for this story. Maybe you should objectively look at the characters and not, I want to push this particular thought, agenda, whatever it is, into it. And her self-absorption in what was put out being something that she truly wanted to put out did not make the best thing there was, obviously, but also ruined a lot of Star Wars faith and trust that a lot of us still had at that point in time, because we had Ahsoka. Ahsoka was fine. This was coming out. Before this came out, we had the little shorts and everything else like that, which we always tend to enjoy. They're hit and miss, but we always tend to enjoy
and
that.
then the animated stuff's always
And
really
this.
good.
And it feels bad of me to say that I am looking forward to Skeleton Crew when Disney with Star Wars has given me no real reason to
Yeah.
look forward to Skeleton Crew, but it's drawing on that nostalgia from the Spielberg 80s and all those kid adventure movies.
They cut a good trailer, but they've
Yeah.
done that to us before.
Yep, and we will see.
Yeah,
We will see.
Yeah,
if
we'll
I
see.
Continue to fall for it over and over. Probably.
We will. We're done. We're that done. We'll continue to watch Marvel Star Wars. Maybe this is the good one.
That's
and
right. All right, let's move on to our other stuff. We're going to talk about video game stuff, just other stuff.
Just other mentions of things that happened.
Mentions of things. So
I put it on this. Batman Crusader. I didn't put it in my top.
it was close in mine.
Yeah, no.
It was the one right under mine. So I'm glad we're talking
There
about it.
are a lot of things that worked well in this, and a
Yeah.
lot of things that show that Warner Brothers is the fucking stupidest studio company, whatever, that is out there. Batman, your biggest property, Warner Brothers, you lent out to Amazon to make their own show. Amazon brought on the writers and the original production crew of Batman animated series to help out with this, and made one of the most compelling Batman anything in a while, and possibly as a full complete package since Batman the Animated Series.
Yep.
There have been some things
Yeah.
Batman related that have been interesting over the years. Batman appearances in some live action movies, there have been parts that have been decent, but overall the movies themselves have been shit. Some of the other animated things with Batman, hit and miss. But this, as a complete thing, worked. You took the world and changed it and all the changes you made were somehow the right decision for the characters, and for basing it in the 30s. I think it was the early 30s.
I will partly agree, but there are some funny decisions that they made about, doing some of the, and I'm not one of those people who gives a shit about you making a girl a guy or a black person a white person and vice versa, you know what I mean? But it's just funny that you're playing at the 30s, and Gotham is the most diverse place.
Yep.
Super diverse
in America. Wonderful. Right now would be like LA.
Yeah. So, way more diverse than the rest of the world ever caught up.
There's lesbians making out in the middle of the bar in the 30s. It's fine. Yeah, no problem. But there's that. My one thing with this is, though, I liked it, and this could just be me, but and I can't place it, but it is just missing something for me. It's not quite that thing. It's almost got that, what do they call it when you see an almost human and you, the uncanny valley kind of a little bit.
Yeah, it has an uncanny valley.
Where it's like, I know it really feels like Batman the animated series, but it's not it. And I know they're not trying to be it, but they're really trying to be it too. You know what I mean? So there's a little weirdness in that for me. I almost wish it went a little more left or right or whatever.
No, it went left.
Yeah, it went left. It went pretty left. It went pretty left. And I don't really want it to straighten out either. And I don't know why all these fucking, I'm not sure why all these are coming out the way they're coming out. But yeah, I just wish that they would have made it a little more of its own thing, and not so much of that thing that I already loved and was already perfect for what it was at that time.
This was almost on my top 3 list, and the reason why it was up so high for me, and I haven't even finished the series, is
what a surprise.
I know, but it's you're following Batman the animated series for geeks of a certain age. You're following one of the most important series ever. And so you're already got a lot of negative against you as you come into this. Like, we're going to do Batman the animated series, a new version of it. Cool. I already hate you. Yep. Because you're never going to live up to what was a retelling of Mr. Freeze, what was some of the more interesting dynamic Joker stories with Batman, who introduced Harley Quinn, who introduced so many other,
spun off into the Batman and Robin, into the Superman, into the Justice League, into the Justice League Unlimited.
So many things.
Loved and watched every single episode of all of those shows multiple times. Here's
what I will say about Batman the Animated Series. This new show in 2024. It very much, the thing it kind of reminded me most of in the Batman realm, and I mean this as a high praise compliment. It reminded me a lot of The Long Halloween, where The Long Halloween is the same thing we know, just slightly different.
Right. Yeah, that's
and that's like
that Penguin story at the beginning has a lot of the Long Halloween elements.
Yeah, Penguin, same thing. And another one that's high on a lot of our list. Same thing, just slightly different, right? It's more of a Sopranos take on the Penguin, but it works in the story you're telling. And the new Batman animated series, it was one of those things that it very much felt like, where was The Long Halloween? I'm reading this, I know this world, I know these characters, but everything's slightly different. And but not in a bad way, not in a way that I hate it right away. And I know there were some people that were like, "Hey, Penguin's a woman, what the fuck?" And I get that. Sure, guys, be mad to be mad.
Gave her a terrible name. That's the only problem.
Yeah, but it's like, first off, let's take a step back and realize Penguin always sucked. Like, Spider-Man is Spider-Man's my favorite character ever in the comic book realm. If they wanted to turn Vulture or Sandman or Hydro Man or Lava Man or Mud Man, anybody into a woman, I wouldn't be too upset.
No.
where it's like,
Well, they
oh,
did
those
it to
characters
Doc
are already.
Ock in the
Spider-Verse,
Spider-Verse,
yeah.
and it was great.
When
Catherine Hahn again.
when her arms came out was probably the most excited I was at that movie, where it was like, oh my god, we've been watching Doc Ock this whole time.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I'm a hater against Miles Morales, and I'm not racist, so that's it puts me in a weird group where it's like, there's a huge amount of people that are just racist who hate Miles Morales, and then there's some of us that go like, hey, maybe doing a teenager who's also from Brooklyn who has family issues but just happens to be black might be more pandering than actually coming up with a new character, you pieces of shit, written by a bunch of white dudes in a white room. And please look it up. I don't like Miles Morales the way a lot of you do. Um, Into the Spider-Verse was the first time I gave a shit about Miles Morales, and the second one, not bad, not great like everybody thinks.
No.
But
not
I
close.
really have been.
Yeah, that
Uh,
literally is a two-part movie
Yeah.
that was a mid-two-part movie.
Whatever, like fucking lame ass shit excuses they give. Tell me your story when you're telling me your story.
Yeah, they
I
did
don't know what I'm
3-hour
doing.
Lord of the Ring movies. They could.
Yeah, it's not even meant as an excuse. It's just that's literally what the movie was. It was a two-part movie. It was
I-
the first part of two parts, and they celebrated the second part. So
All right.
they
well,
made what they made. But this show, no, I mean for this show too, the Harvey Dent story arc in this series is basically stripped from the long Halloween as it was anyway.
And I think that was intentional.
It
I
was.
think
Oh,
that
it
was
was.
intentional because the show so much is Batman from a different point of view. Which is that's the long Halloween, right?
Right.
Like it's all the characters from Batman. We're just kind of shifting it, not 100%. We're shifting it by 10%, a little different, and we get the long Halloween. And the long Halloween, I did not read when it first came out. I read right after it came out in paperback, and I was really shocked how much I loved it. Like how much I actually was like, oh man, this is a great Batman story. And I can't remember outside of Grant Morris going crazy that I enjoyed a Batman story, you know?
Yeah.
Another thing about this show was Batman was somehow the better version of Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne as a character in this show is a terrible person.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, Bruce Wayne is a dick. And he's not acting as a dick, a playboy dick or anything like that. No, he is a dick.
Yep. 100%. And which makes more sense if you're trying to hide this persona.
Yeah.
Like no one would ever believe that he was Batman. You know what I mean? Even
Yeah.
if they saw, oh, that looks a lot like Bruce Wayne, you know, because he barely only got half his face fucking covered in shit, and he's right around his friends all the time. Like you would just be like, no way, Bruce would even think about it. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, great show. What else we got? Okay, so
Is that wrestling?
This is the McMahon documentary. Okay.
Oh.
I wanted to talk about this just because, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but, you know, you're friends with John Morrison, so I'm sure you at least heard plenty of
I
it.
want to say this real quick. I don't care for wrestling. I walked away from wrestling at a young age where I was kind of like, Andre the Giant's not a bad guy. He's a human. The fact that we think there's bad guys and good guys in real life doesn't make sense. And I walked away from wrestling altogether. I have many friends that stayed into it, and because I still do kind of help out in the realm of theater, wrestling is the most successful traveling theater group in the world. The WWE or F or whatever the fuck they call it now is the most successful traveling theater group. It really is. Yep. And so when we talk about theater, it's one of those things we kind of got to look at wrestling and say, like, what are they doing?
Well, I just wanted to talk about this.
I haven't watched the documentary. What I know about Vince McMahon,
his wife is.
I guess I would.
Education secretary.
So.
Yeah, I think I would label him somewhere in the area of just absolutely a pile of shit.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
oh.
that's let me. This is why I brought this up, okay? Because the beauty of this documentary is when it came out. I want to say it was weeks, if not a month. This comes out, or they're shooting this. I want to say, and the allegations had for him being, doing these sexual predator bullshit, all this shit comes out, but he doesn't know anything about it when he starts doing this documentary, right? And they go through it. I mean, they're going all the way back and talking about his whole life and stuff like that. And for wrestling shit, it's pretty interesting. And again, coming from a theater aspect and just someone who was hustling, doing the thing, and it's very interesting on that. But just the whole background of the allegations and how it came out, I thought that was wonderful for it to work
All
out
right.
that way. That these allegations came out as this was going on. So.
He's been called the modern day P.T. Barnum, which is apt because P.T. Barnum himself was a piece of shit.
Well,
Truly.
I know. Like when we say that, that's not a
hey,
compliment.
hey, listen.
No.
Most very, very successful people in the world, let's just be frank. Most of them are pieces
Pretty
of
horrible.
No, absolutely. But
You gotta do shitty
but
things.
the P.T. Barnum comparison is because P.T. Barnum, you all know, or a lot of people know because of the Barnum and Bailey Circus. P.T. Barnum was this person who gathered up these special individuals for that time and day and exploited the shit out of them.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon
and
did
played
this-
it off like he was doing them a favor because
Yeah.
they couldn't do anything better in the world.
Vince McMahon has done the same thing for pretty much his entire career with being involved in wrestling.
Yeah.
Yes, they were filming this last year when that happened, and then McMahon got ousted from the WWE altogether. Like he has nothing to do with it anymore. They released this documentary this year. He was all in on talking about himself because that's how high he is on himself.
Oh yeah.
And then as this was getting closer to release, he tried to denounce it. He tried to say, oh, it's a bunch of fabricated bullshit and everything else like that, as you would expect one to do, who is going to, again, be leading our country. But
like taking yourself off the list for the AG, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When shit's about
So-
to exactly, yeah.
so yeah, I haven't seen this yet, but yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily need to see it to know kind of what's going to
Nah,
be
but it's
involved
fun.
in it. So-
It's just really fun, especially if you do or ever were a fan of wrestling. You know, a lot of you get to hear a lot of stories, a lot of your old favorites. It's pretty good.
The most tasteful choice I want to say in that picture right there for the official poster that's in the middle is that they made the character that he's puppeting look like Chris Benoit. And if you know the story
Nice.
of Chris Benoit, yep. All
All
right.
right, let's get through these rest of these. What else we got?
Hey, Final 7 Rebirth. One of my favorite games this year. So Final Fantasy VII, James has talked about before, as he sat and watched me play just for the enjoyment of watching everything that's going on with it and everything else.
It's
like
one
that.
of the few games I can actually say, like, I never played Final Fantasy VII. What's your and I think it's brilliant. What's your experience? I watched Matt Christensen play, and it was such a good game. Just watching him play was enough for me to be like, hey, this is really something. And that's like the highest compliment. I'm watching somebody else play your game, and I'm thinking like, wow, this is high art.
Yeah, it means it's
Like,
a great
so,
storyline.
yeah.
And this one, beautiful too. Doesn't not definitely a fun one to watch.
And this game they've moved away from the turn-based system like that, kind of go more towards an action-oriented push buttons, everything like that. But you're still limited in terms of what you can and can't do. Took the mechanics from the first one remake, made them a lot better for this game, but also did a thing where it makes it enjoyable to play every single character. Like even in the original Final Fantasy VII, not every character is the best character to play, and you kind of stick with your mains, and then you get to the end of the game and realize, oh shit, I did nothing with these other characters, and now I have to use them. This makes you want to play as them because they're all fun to play as. This game is a fun game. There's a lot of side stuff on it. Your mileage may vary on whether or not you enjoy all that stuff and everything like that. I enjoyed pretty much most all of it. I accomplished most all of it. But this was a fun game to play. The storyline kept true to the original, fleshed out a lot of it, and what they've been doing to flesh it out, I've liked, and it works for what the overall story was. And it's also telling the story that was kind of in your head when you played the original game.
Yeah, they're just filling it in a little bit more. I really like this game too. I will say though, I miss the turn-based. I just miss it because I don't want to mash buttons. I don't. Okay, so here, if it's turn-based, if it's a turn-based game, and I can play as often as I get to play, I can pick that turn-based game back up, and I can fucking know exactly how to play it again. I am going to choose a fucking thing out of this list of fucking things, and my guy's going to do that thing, right? Okay. This game, I have to remember how to play it because there's so long in between where I end up putting it down that by the time I pick it back up again, I'm like, oh fuck, I don't remember what button does what, and now get my fucking, and I just kind of, there's this learning curve that I have to get back up to, and I know you're going to say that I could turn on the turn-based mode, and you're right, but you still have to do a lot of things, a lot of moving around and doing stuff.
I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say that that is a detriment to a lot of games nowadays, is that they make their own unique setup for what the buttons do and how you do the combat and everything else like that, that going between these games, it makes it difficult to come back to one because, it's a completely different set. You think you know what you're doing, and now it's a completely different set. So, no, I agree with you on that point.
It makes hard to pick back up.
But, no, still, great game, one of my favorite things from this year. So
Agreed. All right, next.
Because James is falling asleep.
James is going 9-9. Okay, this is a worse game real quick, I will say. Suicide Squad Killed Justice League. This was on my list last year of things I was fucking excited about. Let me tell you something because I looked it up today. Let me tell you how long I played this game for. I got it the day it came out. I was very excited. It got pushed back again from when we talked about it last year. And I looked at my fucking Steam thing. I paid this game for 27 minutes. I put it down and I never picked it back up. It was a bullshit fucking looter shooter fucking rando bullshit game. It was hard to fucking control. It was immediately felt generic, and I didn't like any bit of it. Any bit of it at all. I didn't even, there was no jokes that made me even want to give a fuck about it. So big letdown for me this year.
That's fair.
All right.
I may or may not have given you a warning against this game last year.
Yeah, well, you know, fuck you,
whatever.
Matt Christian, warn me all you want. I will buy games and waste my money all I would like.
Do it.
All right, go on. What's the last one? We got one more? Two more. Okay.
Hey, Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. James, have you played it yet?
No, I haven't even bought it. Like, hey, I'm more upset about this than you guys. Where it's like, there's a new Zelda game out, and I haven't bought it yet. And it's literally because I go to work at 6:30, and I come home at like 7:30. Not a.m., p.m., motherfucker. So it's like, by the time I get home, I'm too tired to even play a game.
Yes,
that's fair.
Trust me.
So this game is, let's take the remake of Link's Awakening, which I know for you, James.
Not bad.
Yeah. It's an okay game, Link's Awakening, but it's kind of short for a Zelda game and everything like that. But it's understood because it was originally created for the Game Boy, and you didn't necessarily have super long games on the Game Boy. Let's mash it with the mechanics of Tears of the Kingdom in terms of being able to create and kind of do these things, everything like that. Let's make
sounds like Nintendo.
Let's make the world.
Least favorite part of that game.
Let's make the world bigger than Link's Awakening and put some actual dungeons in, and everything else like that. Is it the greatest Zelda game? No. Is it a lot of fun? Absolutely.
And that's all I care about.
Yep.
That's kind of like why I want to play it. Is I know it's not going to be Breath of the Wild, but I do know it's going to be a Link Between Worlds.
Yeah, and it's
like I enjoyed a Link Between Worlds, so play this one.
And they made it that since Zelda's not truly a fighter in this game, what they gave her for mechanics to be able to fight and solve things and everything like that works well, and it doesn't diminish the character at all or try to create it.
I
into
love that,
this
like,
higher
one of her
status.
copy things is copy warriors, where she
Yeah.
can, like, just unleash a bunch of warriors to fight for on her behalf.
Yep.
There you
Like,
go.
yeah, there's a lot of smart game devices in this.
I have not checked it out, but I definitely am going to check this
Yeah,
one
no,
out.
just a fun game, and the side missions, as in with classic Zelda games, with side missions, you don't have to do them, but
Yep.
a lot of them are fun to do. So
All
Yeah.
right. All right, we're going to do the last one here, and this is something that for 2 years running now has been on my list. Oh no, this is my worst still? I thought I had one more. Oh, I
You
didn't.
didn't
Well,
put
I'm
it on
going
the
to say
list.
something at the end.
Is that
Yeah,
Mike
this is the
Tyson?
worst. Okay, I want to talk about this real quick. I do. Okay, so, I mean, yeah, topical. This was happening, and he was old and all this shit. My worst about this is how fucking just sad it is for people our age, because when this fight was talked about in June, every motherfucker my age made a bet with every motherfucker 20 years younger that Mike Tyson was going to wipe the floor with this guy. There was no way. It didn't matter that he was 20 years older. Like, this right here just made me feel like, nope, we're just old as fuck, and we just know none of us, no matter, not the best of us, can do any of the shit we could do 20 years ago, and even Mike Tyson, you know, and we could talk about, was it fixed, was there blah, 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 I don't care, but it looked bad, it felt bad, everything about it was bad, the whole lead up was bad, and fuck you 2024 for even bringing this at all. It's a fucking joke, and fuck you.
I did not have an interest in seeing this fight, and from what I've heard, this was exactly what I thought it would be, which is hey everybody, we're all getting paid, and we're getting paid off all these dumb motherfuckers who want to see this for reasons we can't even explain. We're just putting it out there, and
Like
then
celebrity
absolutely,
boxing from
yeah.
back in the day. You know what I mean?
And-
Oh, look at James.
Hey James, welcome.
Hey, James. We're
Yeah,
almost done here, guys.
But
All right,
Ja-
good,
but
good.
I remember back from the infamous fight where he bit Holyfield's ear. James and I went to a party for that, and that at the time was the spectacle Mike Tyson thing that this tried to copy being. Remember that, James?
I think so. Was it the him and Holyfield
Yes, him and
fight?
Holyfield. We went to that party. You had me drive you there.
Oh,
That
good
was
Lord.
kind of the only reason I was there. And then they bit Holyfield's ear, but the build up to that and everything like that was so big. There was some actual fighting
Yeah.
thing done that, but then the ending to that was like what it was. But yeah, no, boxing has devolved into this thing.
There's
where
no
it's
need for
not-
boxing when you have UFC. Sorry, that's just
Yeah,
how it is.
so
Um,
I do have one.
Yeah, and it's not just that. I really think this fight, I didn't see it, but it felt like a cash grab for
yeah,
everybody.
definitely.
oh no, it was
Like, the only
40
person that
for
were pissed
Jake,
off at the end
20
of this
for,
fight were the viewers.
Yep, everybody got
Tyson,
paid.
apparently.
Everybody got paid.
Okay, so the last thing
Yep.
is a good thing, and this is 2 years running for me, and that is boom.
The whole
It's too
screen.
big, but that is
The whole screen.
Baldur's Gate 3.
I had to add it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. You can take it off. But Baldur's Gate 3 is still going. It is still something that is the best thing this year, even though it came out last year.
All right.
And you have mods.
That's fine.
You
I'm
yeah,
good
that's
with this
cool.
picture.
You have mods. You have mods that have just come out. Whether you're on console, whether you're playing it on PC, you can easily do the mods. They've got new quests that are coming out. They've pushed it to level 20. Like whatever the fuck you want to do, this game's got legs. It's gonna be played for a long fucking time. You know, I mean, this is gonna be it. This is gonna be it for me.
Yep.
Baldur's Gate 3, get it.
I love it.
It's
I
on
play the
everything.
game every once in a while, so come
I'm
back to
saying.
it every once in a while in between
Go
stuff.
pick it
So,
up.
yep. Hey, everybody, 2024. Fuck you.
2024.
Fuck you,
Tell them about it,
2024.
James. 2024. It's a sign out. 2024.
2024 is the show where I had to end with I had to piss.
There it is. There it
That-
is.
yeah, you end every show like that.
We
You had
actually
to
do
piss.
have.
Yeah.
We
And
actually
you
do
almost
have
went out.
one last thing as we go out, and we
Okay.
want to give it up for our bid of the year. Our bid of the year.
Oh
of
yeah,
course.
oh yeah. Our
Is that
most
what you're gonna want
important
to put up?
our most
Alright,
important
go ahead.
person this year.
There it
Hey!
is.
Yeah.
Dan Schneider.
our
Dan
Lord and
Schneider.
Savior Dan
Keep putting it
Schneider.
up. Go ahead.
You have made this year wonderful.
That's right.
As we are doing 2024 review, I have a couple of jokes. One is 2024 was so horrible. Zack Snyder's releasing a Zack Snyder cut of 2024. That's my joke.
There it is.
There you go. And then 2024 brought to you by Dan Schneider.
There it
Is
is.
another joke.
Mhm.
There he is.
There's a
How
couple
beautiful
versions
it.
right there.
Mhm.
I know.
Boy, he's looking very Harry Weinstein.
Oh.
Oh, look at there.
Nice.
Jabba Nuwamba.
Nice.
There it is. Is that representing me? You're putting that one over the top of me? Look at that.
well,
Middle one kind of looks like you, though. Matt.
Facial hair is matching up along the way here.
Yeah.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
trying to
Leave
do
it.
that
Leave it.
face.
Leave it. Leave it.
2024 is when P.
Hey.
Diddy taught us to love
I wasn't
again.
in that hot tub with that teenager. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
There it is.
Oh, damn.
I've never even watched the show all that.
That's all that.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
There it is. That's
Perfect.
I have that shirt at home. So I'll wear it next
Gonna use this as our replacements anytime one of us are off on
There
the
you
show.
go.
So.
Yeah, those are our versions of Jan Harmon that we are when one of us can't be here. That's perfect. That's perfect. Great.
All right.
Great.
Well, 2024 was a year.
2024 was a year. It's not quite over yet.
It was
We
a
will
year.
be back after the holiday. You guys have a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy it and all those turkeys and hams and stuff. And we will be back with a double feature. We're going to be watching Steven Spielberg's The Star Wars. And
Spielberg has nothing to do with it.
we're going to be watching Creature Commandos. Yeah, I know.
James Gunn's Creature Commandos, who again has nothing to do.
I really like Steven Spielberg's The Star
The
Wars.
Star
Like,
Wars, yeah. That's what we're going
I
to call
kind of
it,
want to
yeah.
see Steven Spielberg's The Star Wars.
I'm doing this movie. It's called The Star Wars. All
It's
right,
different from
let's go.
Star Wars. 'Cause
Yeah,
it has
yeah,
the word "the" in front of
Oh,
it.
yeah, it's totally different.
I'm sick and tired of all these Star Wars.
Ah! These stars,
Like, it has
they're
lines like
working
that.
all the time.
All right.
I
We
know.
have
Why are
been-
all these wars of the stars?
It's been 8 administrations and we've had Star Wars going on. When is enough?
Yep.
Free Jabba.
James,
All right,
you get
bye,
Acolyte.
guys.
James, you get Acolyte next year. Or not
Yeah.
Acolyte, but you get I'm sorry, Andor season 2 next year.
Yeah, baby.
I'm about to say nobody gets Acolyte next year. Nobody.
Andor
Especially not the
season 2,
cast of Acolyte.
2025 for James Cope, specifically for James Cope.
There you go.
All right, guys. Until then, I'm Smoking Fat J.
I'm the svelte Dan Schneider.
There it is.
Matt Christy.
I am intoxicated.
Yeah, you
All
are.
right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Yes, I have.